Joseph, I haven't seen you on camera in a while now. What's going on, man? You had all week to get your stuff set up. You show up, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here for me, and you ain't got your camera set up. What's going on?
Nothing's going on.
You trying to hide something from us?
I can't be asked.
I think you're trying to hide, because the last time we did this, when I was at Beaker RC, you couldn't do it with your camera, and now you can't do it with your camera. So I think you're hiding something from us. I think you got something secret there in your workshop that you don't want nobody to see. Anyway, dude, it's time to record this podcast. It's early. I need coffee, and you got meetings to do today. So let's drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but ebuggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 134 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and joining me and blessing us with his presence, even though he isn't on camera because he can't be bothered to put his camera together or he's hiding something, is JQ. What's up, Joseph? How you doing, man?
Not bad.
Yeah. I haven't spoken to you for a minute. We haven't even really talked much since I got back from the States. We didn't even talk much while I was in the States, to be honest. I know you've been racing and stuff like that, and I know you've been testing and going to the track a lot. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when we catch up here in a minute. But before we get into all of that, I want to shout out and say thank you to all the sponsors. I want to shut up and say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world, because without you guys, we couldn't do none of this. Without you guys downloading and listening and tuning in like you guys did last night on the live. Thank you, Wally and Kevin, for joining us, and everybody that did it. The hotline was back last night. We can't do it without you guys, so thank you for all the support. Keep sharing the podcast. If you haven't, go into our YouTube channel, go hit that sub button. Do the same thing for Joseph. He's at 10,000K, so he has to go do the Kyosho Masters next year, and with a Kyosho. But hit that sub button for us and help us get to 1,500 subs on YouTube by the end of the month. That would be great. Shout out to all the patrons of the podcast. Thank you guys for the extra support. It goes a long way. It helps keep these bills paid. If you wish to support the podcast a little extra and want to get some extra perks, like for instance, the Patreons got a early screening of Driven 3 this weekend, along with some competition winners from the House of RC. Become a patron. The link is in the written description of this podcast. Every little bit helps, and that helps support this podcast and keep it going. Also, I'd like to say shout out to all of our awesome sponsors that keep this podcast going. They are Mayako, which I'm going to talk a little bit more with Joseph here. It's coming to crunch time here. It's now July. It's almost August, so we want to know a little bit of information about Mayako. Beach RC, can't do without Brent and those guys there helping us out here at the podcast. TNR Fuels made by racers for racers. Hitec RC, been in the game for a long time. They want to get back into racing, into ebuggies and racing. You should check out their new charger. Lugz Racing Tires, Sun City RC Raceway, Tekno RC, Manscaped.com, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, House of RC, Wally Builds, RCGP, JQ Threads, and JQ Racing, of course. Can't forget JQ Racing. Also, before I go on a little further, I just want to shout out and send our condolences to, obviously, the Welch family. As we know, Rex passed away a few weeks ago. I saw a touching memorial on his YouTube channel put up by his family. He was a stalwart in the Minnesota RC community, so he will be missed. And our condolences to his family, and also condolences to the James Little family in the Carolinas. I met Mr. Little at my first big race way back in 2004 in Charlotte, at Lance Norrick's track. And I remember just buying parts from him. And every time he went into his trailer, he would talk to us for about 10, 15 minutes. And I saw him a couple of years later at a race. And even talk to him on Facebook now and then. He was a stalwart for racing in the Carolinas, and he passed away here this week too. So condolences to Mr. Little and his family. And just if any of our RC family that are passing away or sick or anything like that, our condolences and positive vibes sent out to you. All right, Josie. So what's up, dude? What's going on? You did race her recently, and I was worried about you, because I was wondering if I was going to have to put you on suicide watch and hide all rope and sharp objects from you for about a week, because you went racing at your nationals. You're super confident going into this, and then you came second. You had a great result, but you didn't win. And you lost to Max, and he won. So the prophecy has come true now. The Padawan has beaten the master, and I just want to know how you took that. Or how was your race, actually? Because Max talked about his, so how was yours?
My race was okay. I started off a bit sort of off the pace, but I made a few setup changes and it ended up really good. I had a bad start in the main. I dropped back to 7th, but then I drove up to 2nd and finished 2nd. So
which track was
overall,
this?
I think it was good.
Which track was this?
It's Salo. It's this kind of small, rough, very inconsistent track. I haven't really been there. Probably this was the first race probably in 5 years that I've attended there. So,
how do you feel about like Max beating you and actually winning? Because he's beat you before, but this time to go on to win it.
This was the first race he won, actually. So
right. Well,
it's been a long time coming. So I think that honestly, if he didn't eventually win, then it would look bad on me, to be honest, because I'm the one that's invested heavily in him, in the sense that driving him all around Europe, supporting his racing, teaching him all kinds of stuff, helping him. So if he didn't at some point do well, then it would look bad on me, right? So
yeah.
I guess that's a good thing that he finally put it all together.
Yeah. And well, congratulations to Max, and he did it. He's 21 now, and yeah, he finished up his video series, which you gave him some crap for, but it's actually pretty good and pretty knowledgeable. So it's both of you guys. I mean, both of you guys are doing some good work with your video. You haven't done a video in a while. What's up with that?
Oh, actually, I've done 7.5 hours.
Yeah, I know you have. You done like? Can we talk about that real quick? What you're doing actually?
Yeah, we can.
All right, so tell everybody what you're doing.
Yeah, well, the book that I wrote was a success. Let's put it that way. It sold, the first batch sold out, made a second batch, also translated into Spanish, French, Italian, and German. It turns out I just got some emails that there are some interesting mistakes in some of the translations with some different languages popping up. So that's interesting.
Oh, wow. So yeah, it's like a Spanish book with like...
hopefully there aren't too many of those mistakes.
Oh, it's never easy, right?
We'll find out. We'll find out when, because, I mean, you send it off to someone to do the layout in Italian, say, and you get it back and you check it, everything looks fine. And then somewhere there's like one paragraph in Spanish instead of Italian. It's like, motherfuckers, like, how am I supposed to, like, when I check the book and say, okay, everything's okay, how am I supposed to know that on page 68 the third paragraph is Spanish instead of Italian?
I don't know, but it must be.
I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's my fault.
Yes,
but there has to be something called like professionalism and
editing
and pride in your own work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say your daughter has a birthday and you go to a cake shop and you say, hey, I'd like to order a birthday cake for my daughter. And she's allergic to peanuts, so no nuts in the cake. I want strawberries, right? Okay, so they make you a cake and see, okay, try this. Make sure this one is okay, and then we'll make the actual one for your daughter's birthday. So you try it, everything's fine. Check it, everything looks great. Then for the birthday cake, you get the cake, and then your daughter has an allergic reaction. You're like, what the hell? What's up with this? Turns out in the middle of the cake, there was a strawberry which had ground up nuts inside the strawberry. Now, you could say, well, why didn't you check the cake carefully? Why didn't you check and make sure that there's no peanuts in the cake? Well, maybe because the peanuts were inside a strawberry in the middle of the cake, and I told you not to put peanuts in it, and you said that you didn't put peanuts in it. It's the same thing here. It's like, it's fucking obvious that if I order an Italian book, then everything's supposed to be in Italian in the book, and you aren't supposed to put a paragraph of Spanish in there, right? I don't know, like, fuck.
Oh man, and the thing is that Spanish and Italian at quick looks very similar. You know what I mean? When you just
you'd have to like literally read the whole book,
which I haven't even written. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even.
Well, I'm sure.
I haven't even.
I mean, it's been a couple of weeks now that people have had these, so hopefully I'll get a full report soon on all of them.
Oh, I know, but where did you come up with that cake analogy? That was actually pretty good.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, that was pretty good. If you came up with that with the cost of your head, I'm gonna give you some props for that one. That was good.
But it makes sense, right? What I'm saying.
Like,
yes, it's my fault, but there has to be some level of professionalism. Like when they send you something to check, like, check this, make sure the book is okay. You check it. You're like, okay, all the pictures are there, captions are correct, text looks fine. You aren't going to read every single word, are you? You have like one day to check it or something. You're going to read 4 books, really? I don't know. I guess that's what you have to do.
In languages that you don't really speak. Well, I know you speak German and stuff like that, but...
No, I don't really.
Yeah, but you don't read them. Like, it's... But yeah. That's nuts.
Clearly, that's what you have to do. Really, that's how it is. You have to take time and really.
All right. Well, let's talk about the course. Then. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we went off a tangent. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the book was a success. Then YouTube videos, made a few like engine tuning videos and talking about setup. And it was clear from the feedback that this is what people want. They want more technical videos that explain the why behind different setup changes. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, okay, well, the best way to do this would be to make an online course, because then I can spend the time to make proper videos on everything. And instead of just putting them out for free on YouTube, make it an online course so people pay to gain access, and then I can get paid for my work. Mm-hmm. And it will mean that I can then improve it over time and make it something really good. Really good resource for people. And that's what I've been working on now. So next month, hopefully, pre-orders will open, and then in September it will be released.
So these online courses are just popular, period. A lot of different industries are doing them. My buddy was involved with doing he actually is doing one. He's into diving, right? So he's big into diving and lionfish culling and all that stuff. So he's been talking about doing one of these online courses and stuff like that. So for people who are like, what are you talking about? This is something that happens in a lot of industries, and a lot of different people are doing this nowadays for very many things. So I actually thought this was a good idea when you first told me about it. It's supposed to be like from like your first time seeing an RC car to almost like going to your first big race or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, there'll be like two levels to it. So the first level is from when someone discovers RC racing. So a presentation of all the different classes and why the pros and cons of each class, like to help people decide which class they should pick and what they should race. And then from looking at different levels of equipment, like if you're on a budget or if you're on a really tight budget or medium budget or money is no problem, like what should you buy? And assembling your car, getting ready to go to the track, going to the track for the first time, going to your first race, basic maintenance, the first setup changes you should consider, practicing, learning to drive better, improving your racecraft, more setup changes you should do, all the way up to sort of mental approach to racing, race strategy, and racing for trying to win the world championship kind of thing. So throughout that whole thing, that's the basic course. And then the full course is that basic course plus basically all the contents of Invisible Speed. Okay. So the basic course doesn't go into detail of setup and how cars work and why you make changes. But then if you get the full course, then you get all of that too.
Okay. Sweet. It sounds like a lot of work, dude.
Oh, yeah, but hopefully it will be worth it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you some serious props here. Like your YouTube videos are one thing I'm going to give you, you have it must be your autism too, but you have the ability to focus on multiple things at once. Not fully focused, but when you do things like that, like your engine tuning video and just the videos that you've been doing, like I imagine how much work went into just doing them. I'm sure it's gotten a lot easier and faster now, but man, I think this is going to be great. Can we say how much something like this is going to cost, or are you just going to wait till it comes out?
I haven't really decided yet, but it's a one-time payment and then you have access for life. Mm-hmm. So you pay once and you have access to all future updates and all that stuff also. So I think the basic course will be about the same as the book.
Okay.
And then the full course will be more expensive than that.
All right. Well, Joseph, you know what? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You had something to say?
So another thing that will be linked to that is that there's going to be a Discord server for everyone who has purchased the full course. Mm-hmm. And they get access to that. And on there's text chat, live voice calls, video calls, and just a place to discuss setup. And you can also, post your own videos and get personal feedback on your driving, on your setup, recommendations, what to try. So even live, so you're at a race and you need some help, you can get help right there. So the idea is to build a community of people who enjoy trying to improve their driving and their setup.
Right. I've also heard you've been kind of doing this kind of privately for some people around the world too. I know, my buddy was telling me that you do, I know you kind of offer that in your Patreon too, but some personal tutoring while they're at races. I know people well, how can you do that? But obviously being at the race is one of the best things you could be, but you can't be at every race. But virtually you can do so many things as well nowadays, especially with Discord. It's such a great platform. I haven't really explored it. Rowan's on me about making one for the pod. Well, we actually have one for this podcast, but I'm like, Rowan, I'm doing YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and double because I'm looking into doing. I'm studying her to do another podcast outside of the industry, into the action figure industry, but I'm just absorbing so much information right here. I'm just kind of focused on a certain amount of platforms. Obviously, I'm going to learn Discord anyway, because I guess I'm going to be in it for the Mayako eventually. I have a lot of people asking me about that. I'm just not in it right now. So I think that's actually a good idea, Joseph. The whole, just seeing how Discord works and all that type of stuff. And I can understand why it's such a good platform.
Yeah. So the goal is to make this something that's good for all different classes of racing. So obviously it starts with 8-scale off-road, but there are other people involved also for the other classes. And the idea is to then also on the Discord have not just me, but other drivers, world-class top drivers on there answering questions also. So it's a one-stop shop for everything current about setup. And it's personal help, but it's public to that group. So if anyone asks a question or anyone has a video that they want feedback on, all people on that server will see it and can learn from it. So that's the idea.
Sweet. That's awesome. Hey, Joseph, before we go on any further, we have to pay some bills. And as you guys know, this podcast is brought to you by manscaped.com. Joseph, the sun's out and bums are out, and hopefully your pubes are not out. Also, it's flip-flop season, and you're out. We don't want you out there with those post-pandemic toenails. Don't worry, our friends at Manscaped have you covered. They just launched their 4th generation performance package and their Shears 2.0 nail grooming kit. So join the Manscaped movement by going to manscaped.com using the promo code no name in all caps to save 20% off your order. Now, what do you get with this performance package? You get the 4th generation advanced lawnmower trimmer, which I have, which is uses some great technology so you don't cut yourself while you're down there doing some heavy duty manscaping. It comes with the weed whacker, which is good for your ears and nose hair. 2 things I suffer from too as well. I haven't got the weed whacker yet. I got to ask him for it. I haven't tried it out yet. And it comes with the new 2.0 nail clipper grooming kit, which we all need. We can't be going out there with some crusty toenails. So got to get in shape for summer. Manscaping, it's the new thing. You got to cut through the jungle to find your manhood. Go check them out at manscaped.com. Use the promo code no name in all caps and you save 20% off your order, and you shall get free shipping. And I believe soon this will be for Europe too. So I can probably get one sent to you, Joseph, and you can get yourself all trimmed up and nice and ready. Summertime, all 30 days of it there in Finland. So thank you to manscaped.com. Show them some love by supporting them and getting yourself one of these performance packages. Also comes with some boxers and some ball deodorant and all that type of stuff. It's really good stuff. All right, Joseph. Quick question, because I get this quite a lot. My Akko, what's going on? So I haven't talked to you much. I know the date is August. It's now July. So August isn't too far away. What's up? You've been testing. Give us a quick synopsis of what you learned.
Yeah, so last few weeks, unfortunately, I don't have a home track, so always have to drive quite far to the track.
4 hours, right?
Yeah, in the beginning when I went to Vaasa, that was 4 hours each way. Now it's 2 hours each way to another track. So
it's probably like 1,000 miles. No, but probably like 300 miles in Finland, because you probably don't have speed limits there. But anyway.
But I've been now averaging, I think, twice a week at the track. Mm-hmm. And I think because I have to drive a bit further also, so I sort of focus on it. So I prepare before, then I spend all day at the track, and it's sort of more effective in a way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's one day, but I drive a lot and I get a lot done. So, because I sort of make a plan before I go. Mm-hmm. So testing has actually been going really well. And I have to say that I'm really looking forward to the end of COVID and getting back to racing.
Because you did hit me up and you was like, oh, if when COVID ends, I'm going here and then I'm coming to visit you and then we're going DNC. I'm like, Joseph, you are excited to get to DNC, aren't you? I don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, that's kind of where the racing season starts. Mm-hmm. So the car itself that I've been testing has been sort of, well, obviously not the production version, but everything's the same. Like it's the setup options that are on the car that will be released next month. Mm-hmm. That's what I've been running and testing and figuring out some basic setups for different types of tracks. And the goal is to make a really, really easy and straightforward setup guide for people so that we have a basic setup. If you want something, then you can just check the guide and say, okay, I want my car to do this. That's what I'm going to change. Or I'm going to a different kind of track. What should I do? Okay, I'll do these 3 things. So that's really what I've been working on, to figure all of those things out and then documenting them. And then I've been sharing this process on the Discord server for all the members also. So they've seen pictures and videos and just discussions of all these different things. Mm-hmm. And the prototype car is in production now. So over the next weeks, parts are going to start rolling in. By the end of the month, most parts will be done. And I still don't think that it will ship during August. I think that the car will ship out in September. Mm-hmm. Because even when the parts are done, when I say done, they still need to be laser engraved and everything needs to be packed and the QC has to be done. So yeah, even though the machine shop has done them and they arrive at the factory, it still takes time. Packaging as well. Yeah. So I think that you'll see people receive their cars in September.
Yeah, I
But
said
you
that
will,
last night.
publicly, people will probably see it already in August.
Okay.
Like non-members also.
What's funny, right, is I saw somebody comment, he's like, "Well, where's my Akko? Did that disappear?" I'm like, no, it's still her. I get it why people think like that. But look at Infinity. Look, how long has Infinity been bringing out an off-road car? And nobody's really seen it yet. So, and that's way more budget.
COVID is a big problem because of COVID, everything is more expensive and also harder to do. And some things are impossible. Like shipping costs are really high. Availability of material is low. So sometimes there are delays just because you can't get the right material for whatever you are doing at that time. And this isn't just the RC industry. This is all industries. It's a global thing. So that's really been a lot harder. Also, the fact that I haven't been able to go over there, that's also difficult because everything has to be done on video call and text chats, and that's so much harder than actually being somewhere. So imagine you are in the same room with people and you're looking at parts and comparing and explaining versus you do things on video call. Like you can't translate how something feels or fits together on video, but when you are in the room, you can, because you have the parts. You can show like, this is how something is supposed to work. This is how it's supposed to fit. You can do that, but now you can't because we aren't in the same room. So that's that's a frustration. But yes, everything is moving along. And as for people not hearing about my Akko and knowing, that's a conscious decision and choice already before, because the whole point was release the brand, promote it, sell memberships, and then focus on the members. So that was the idea from the get-go. Once the members get the car, then start publicly promoting again.
I understand that. So I guess I'll have my car in September. Woohoo! I actually want to try and go to the Southern Nats in September, to be honest, if possible. Sweet, man. Good stuff. I haven't, like, people ask me all the time, I don't know anything about my Akko. They'll ask me in the live stream, and Wally was in there, and we got talking about it, and we kind of came up with the same presumption that it would be like September. I just know how things work and how slow it works when it's normal. So with COVID, I know it's definitely a big deal. All right, man. Future racing plans for you. Anything looking positive, like leaving Finland to go race somewhere this summer?
I hope that travel in Europe will be possible in sort of late September, October. And if so, then I would drive to Southern Europe and hopefully race in Italy, France, Spain.
You can travel though. It's just a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah, right now, not all countries, but mostly you can travel.
Right. I think that's what happened to the Viking. He's going to be joining us later on today. So we talk about the IBC race, by the way. That's our main interview, as well as Zach Donovan came on to talk about his new website and his charge leads, and he done a giveaway. So I forgot to talk about that in the beginning. But yeah, I think he got, we'll clarify it, but I think he missed his COVID shot or something. Like, it's so weird, like how many shots you have, not shots, tests or something like that. So I wonder what, like, I don't know, like, I don't really want to talk about vaccines and all that type of stuff, but I wonder why it's taken so long to roll out all that stuff up in the, in Finland and all that stuff, like the vaccines and all that there.
I guess they just haven't had enough.
Right. I guess they just dumped as many vaccines as they could on us and said, test them. So here you go. I don't know, but
America got a lot of them, but a lot of Americans are anti-vaxxers, you know.
Right. Even in my country, in Bermuda, even here, people are not doing it. But like, just for me, having that, like, being vaccinated, I know it just made, like, I always had, when I was traveling here recently, because while I was traveling, the DR made it mandatory for UK passport holders or people coming from the UK to get a PCR test, which is like $250 in America. I was like, damn, if I have to get one of these tests, like, you know what I mean? But I was also vaccinated, and I wasn't coming from Britain. But It just is what it is, man. I just think, like, I went and done the vaccine thing because I know eventually to travel, that's what you're going to need to get. And yeah, it's all good. But it was good to see international or European racing back at the International Buggy Challenge. We're going to talk more about that when later on in this podcast. But we have to get through some news and some questions, Joseph. So before we do that, though, I am excited. When you started talking about DNC, that's how our trips start. Like, even Mike Hill was talking about it. He goes, oh, so we're going DNC. I was like, yeah, it looks like we're going DNC. Like, our trips always start with you coming up with the idea. So we're DNC next year, like, or whatever, something like that. You see, Joe has built a track, right? He's built a track he's now going to have a full-time track where he has the DNC. You saw that, right?
No.
Yeah, he's built a track, like the Dart, it's called. And it's where remember in 2019 where they had because of rain, they had the, in the smaller part of the track, which was a little bit more square, went a little bit more deeper than the rodeo side. So yeah, it's going to be a full-time track. A hobby shop's going to be there. It's going to be run by Cody Thompson and CTRC. And yeah. So California has another track in a short and a small, well, I wouldn't say in a small distance. Going anywhere in California, it usually takes 2 hours to do something. So
yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Joseph, you know what? It's time for the RC News, and the RC News is brought to you by Hitec RCD. Hitec is a leader in RC systems, delivering the highest performance and reliability, supported by a dedicated customer service personnel. The HSBC 9381TH servers have efficient brushless motors, titanium gears, low consumption, constant output, and a metal case. The RDX2 Pro charger can charge up to 2 4-cell packs in just 45 minutes, also providing power for engine warmers, engine heating, and tire warming. And I think it has a Bluetooth dongle that you connect your phone, and I believe you can charge your phone off it as well. So trust in Hitec, your servo and charger headquarters. Visit Hitec RCD, where to buy, to find your nearest retailer. Thank you, Hitec, for your support of the podcast. They are a very old company getting back into racing. I'm hoping to have one of their longtime workers who's been in the business for a long time on the podcast to talk about it. So anyway, Joseph, just big news here. And I just wanted to give you a warning because I thought it was going to be a point where you and Westergaard, I think, were like equally, because he was starting to not do so well. And no, you haven't raced in a long time, but Westergaard goes up to JBRL in NorCal and he wins ebuggy and truggy, and that's at JBRL. And that means you're in trouble, Joseph, because that's your specialty classes. We all know that you are a truggy specialist, an ebuggy specialist. And now your biggest nemesis just won JBRL up there. I think he's thrown on the gauntlet, slapped you in the face with his glove. He's challenged you to a duel. I think he wants to see you. No one went there. Excuse me?
No one went there. And why isn't Drake doing JBRLs? Has he fallen out with Jimmy?
I don't know why he's not doing that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe because it was up in North California. Maybe he didn't feel like driving all the way up. Oh, no.
No, he didn't do the previous one either.
Okay, so maybe he's boycotting the JBRLs. Who knows? Who knows with Drake? Spencer Klein wins RC Pro at Shaw's. Congratulations, Spencer Klein. Tebow and Lutz went up to a US RC race in South Dakota. It's good to see that series coming out of the South Carolina, Virginia, northeast area and going up there. Let's talk about the ENATs real quick, Joseph. So the ENATs are happening right now as we speak in Tampa, Florida at Lee Satzer's track, S&S Hobbies, right? I have in my notes 36 entries, 60 plus drivers. When I checked yesterday, I had 41 entries. 41 participants, and let's see, we got 43. So they had two. I don't know what happened between yesterday and today. Somebody must have showed up, or signed up. So now they have 43 drivers, 76 entries. I think this is the lowest turnout I've seen for ENAS. They're always low, but wow! I know you don't like ebuggy, but
why are they this low though?
Well, here's a couple of. Okay, so I've watched the ENATs for the last 4 years being three. I think it was a Hobbyplex. They had a somewhat decent turnout, but it was still low. Then they went to, I think they went to Adrenaline next. I could be wrong. Or they went somewhere. But E-Nuts just doesn't seem to draw in it. And even though E-Truggy is growing, like as much as you don't want to admit it, E-Truggy is growing into like big. I think it comes down to is that the majority of ebuggy racers want to be in a race where they can run sportsman or intermediate. You know what I mean? And I think they just prefer that. So they go to these type of races and do this. But to say all of that, if it's like, we know how we always talk about, we want just a professional, did they do a qualifier already? No. Okay. We just want a professional, like RCGP. RCGP had the RCGP series, and then you had the RC2 series, right? If you look at the entry list for this, it's actually pretty stacked. Like, it's got almost all you got Tyler Jones, Mayfield, Bornhorst, Rivkin, Aiden Horns there, Fens there, Tessman, Cavallari, Ogden. I'm surprised Ogden's there because he was supposed to go up to the Big Apple race where Drake is this weekend. You got, like, obviously you got Lee Satz, a Bronson. It's actually a pretty stacked A main here. So, like, if this was like how we talk about it, this would be like the top 25 racers in America racing this. If this was a few nationals, and then this could be like the nationals A. You know what I mean? And then the national B would be all the guys who aren't really professionals, like similar to what they do in the Euros, but. Man, it is. I feel for the track. Even okay. Also, I think that's a mitigating factor too. The track is actually not very big. You know, it's. Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. You know, if you guys haven't seen it, it's no disrespect to them. It's just more
track.
Yeah, it's more of a 10 scale track. You can run 8 scale on it, but I just like then this track isn't going to make any money off this race. Like no money. At all. They might. I figured out how much Raw pays tracks too. That's actually my thought of the day here. We're going to talk about that later. But it's still a stacked race. We're going to have, you know, I'm going to be following this, but it's with this little bit of interest, why still keep it at 4 days? Like, this race could be done today. This race could be done tomorrow, right? And then everybody can go enjoy their time in Tampa. Don't drag it out. Like, not with this little bit of interest. 28 e-buggies, Joseph. They say, you know, I say ebuggy pays the bills, but they ain't paying the bills for SNS hobbies this weekend. What's your opinion? What do you think? Besides, don't be critical and just say, "Oh, ebuggy sucks." What is your thoughts on this? Why do you think they're not getting? Because the Euro ebuggies got a pretty decent turnout, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I was surprised. I've never looked at e-buggy race entries, but even at the Nitro races, there's a decent amount of e-buggies. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I was surprised.
I think we kind of have to probably. I think the easiest thing for this, but see, then they got e-truggy and short course. They actually don't even have that many classes. Hold on, let me see what they got here. They got
what top guys are missing?
Okay, so Tebow. You don't. Okay, Tebow is not there. Lutz is in there. Who else? We got Jones. No Wiggins. No
Seth.
No Seth. No, which is shocking because Seth is really good in e-bug. But I think
Drake.
Yeah, Drake's up in New York at Barnstormers race, which Cole was supposed to go there. Apparently, there's been some drama there already at this Nationals. Hobby Wing and Reedy, their motors are not approved by Raw or something like that. So they haven't, or they were once approved and now they're not meeting approval or something. And I think they've just been let go. I don't know the full story. I wish I was there. I was trying to be there to get all this scoop and all that stuff. Maybe I get to the 10 scale nationals to get in there and get all this stuff. But I don't know what's going on. I do feel bad for like just Lee Satzer and all that stuff. Who do you think is going to win this? Tyler Jones took seed in race 1. Seed in 1. Hold on, I don't want to watch this live. Let's see.
Mayfield.
Let's see who. Tasman was top seed in the second one. Rivkin, Bornhorst, Jones, Mayfield 5th. Mayfield had a not so good INS too, come to think of it, this past weekend. So, I don't know. I'm picking Tyler Jones for the win, but I mean, who are you going to pick? You should pick Tasman. I think Tasman could win this too. He's been in America practicing all this time. This is probably, his last race.
Rivkin or Mayfield? I'll just say Mayfield, yeah, because he'll end up winning somehow.
I mean, how can you not bet against him, like, to be honest? So, good stuff. Well, good luck to everybody at the ENATs there. We need to figure out how to make this a little bit more popular. I think, like, even though I'm not, like, a person that says a race is determined, like, you can't determine the quality of a race and the amount of entries, right? But we all know that this race is designed, these races are designed to get higher entry counts. And in fact, the tracks... The only way for these tracks to make any money, real money off this from Raw is to have a certain amount of entries before they start making money. But I'm going to discuss all of that here soon. So I wish them all the best, man. I don't even think they changed the layout. The layout's been in there for a while. I think they were doing a club race this past weekend or last week there, and it's the same. So I think I know Lee said they were going to extend the track like 40 feet on each side, but I don't see that either. So I think they figured, like, we're just not going to have... Like, I couldn't even imagine how much it would cost to do a track change. They probably would have lost whatever little money they got from Raw for doing that. So I don't blame them. We need to figure it out, man. I think we kind of need to put this is my solution for this. Why not just knock the Nationals out in 1 week, right? Make the Nationals 1 week. 1 week starts Monday, right? And why? So people say, well, that's so long. Well, then, you know, the Nationals should be for people who could take a week off and do it. Well, you should have qualifying regional races so you can get there, right? Do this, and then you can do all your classes in that race. You can have guys that want to come just do ebuggy. They can come do ebuggy and truggy. Guys who want to do nitro, you can have guys be there for the whole week that want to do the whole race. But I think you just knock this out in 1 week and get it over and done with, and keep it at the same track. That way, people don't have to travel to a different place. They can, you know, I think it's easier to put 3 more days of vacation than it is to have a whole nother week, because either way, if you do either of these races, you're gonna have to take a week almost off each time. So I don't know what the answer to this is, but right now, for all the ebuggy purists who say that we're anti-ebuggy, ebuggy doesn't look like the future right now, but I know it eventually will be. So I'm not hating on it. All right, we had another race this weekend, Joseph, the INS at Hobby Action J Concepts race. Real quick, Dustin Evans won 2-wheel drive. Spencer Rifkin in second. Home track. The GOAT in third. Cole Tollard. Cole Tollard is the silent assassin. He's had a very good 2021. Fourth. Raging Aiden Horn fifth. And Mayfield seventh. Dominic Paconi. I don't know who he is, but he came in sixth. Mayfield on in seventh. Mayfield's 10 scale results have not been up to par lately. Have you noticed that?
I haven't followed, to be honest.
Yeah, it's crazy. He has not really done well. I mean, he was in the B-main at that exact RC race a few months ago. You know what I mean? At OCRC.
Right, yeah.
And another thing, what's cool here, we have 2 sets of brothers in this A-main. You got Aiden Horn and his brother Austin. Austin bumped from the B. And you got Brock and his brother Blake. That's pretty cool. 2 sets of brothers. I just saw that.
So how's that? Which one is it? Brock or Blake that left Associated
Brock.
And made a stink?
Brock.
How did he do?
He beat his brother. He came 8th. Okay. He had a 5, 11, and 10th. Dustin Evans had an 8th, a 2nd, and a 1st. So he had to run all 3.
Which class was this?
This is 2-wheel drive.
Okay. What about 4-wheel?
I'm going there right now. Let's see. So 4-wheel drive, we had the GOAT, Cavallari, Cole Tollard. Cole Tollard had a great weekend. Dustin Evans in 3rd, Aiden in 4th, Mayfield 5th, Rifkin in 6th. Brock didn't make the main in this one. Interesting. And yeah, he did it. Tom Renneker in 9th, Blake and Austin Horn. Yeah, so interesting stuff here. Man, Mayfield's really been struggling in 10 scale. Or maybe it's just like, I'm just doing my, I think Mayfield's just to the point with his 10 scale. I'm just riding this out to the end of my contract. That's what it seems like to me.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Real quick before we move on, Joseph, top 25. Did you have a look at them this week?
Very briefly.
All right. Let's have a quick look at that. I know, like, it doesn't really mean anything, but I like to look at
the problem now is that there isn't really good racing in Europe. This was the first race that Portuguese won, right? Yes,
but it's still something to talk about. But let's see. We got Mayfield still on top. Jared Tebow in 2nd. Ronnefalk in 4th. He didn't move anywhere. He didn't go up or down. Ongaro in 3rd. He stayed there. Juan Carlos moved up. Barton was in 6. Wow, I didn't realize it's in 6. Wow, that's a lot of Europeans in the top 10 here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I think that the problem with the list, one of the problems is when you don't race, it's better for you.
Oh, it hasn't worked in your favor.
Yeah, well, I think there are limits to everything. But, like, do you remember after Cody King was already in rehab and quit and whatever, he reappeared on the list? Do you remember that?
Yes.
So if you race and you do worse than your points, you go down on the list. So if you have good points and you don't race, you will actually improve on the list and do well.
Yeah.
You know, so there is that. So the Americans have been racing throughout, and some of the good guys have had bad races, which is going to make their points worse. Whereas Europeans who have had good points, they haven't raced, and that benefits them. So, I mean, go and look which races are counted right now on the list.
I'm actually not on their website, so let's go. Let's see. I don't think they have. Oh, which races are counted so far? Let's see if they say here. Okay, view current races used. Let's see. What's going on? No. Let me just take that out. My internet dropped. Hello.
What's going on?
Oh yeah, my internet dropped real quick. Sorry about that. So 2021, they have used the International Buggy Challenge, Raw Nationals, Silver State, PMB, Dirt Nitro Challenge, and that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 races for this year.
So all our American races except one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think about it. The only race that counts this year for Europeans is that Portuguese race. So
far, there might be another race where people get together.
And what about last year?
Well, there was no racing last year for that much. So
no, yeah, but what counts?
Last year it started with the January Italian race. I don't even know which one that was.
Okay, I don't know.
Montpellier warm-up made this race too. Check that. And then the Montpellier GP.
Yeah. And
then we had DNC, PNB, Southern Nats, AMS. And previously before that, you had, in 2019, you had Fairing, RCGP, Euro Contest, European Championship, RCGP. Oh, I'm confused. This is all, there were no races.
So basically, if Europeans did well at Montpellier and Montpellier warm-up, and they went to that Italian race, then they'll have great points. And now this Portuguese race. That's it. You go there, you'll be high up on the list.
Well, it's the end.
But Americans have all those other races, so they have some bad races in the mix there, and it's going to make their points worse.
Right. I get that. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. I don't know, Josie. I don't know. But at least we have something to talk about. That's what I look at it as.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next year we can race more and it evens out.
I agree, man. I mean, I've said this before. I was so happy to get back around to people and just talk and be around racing for that time I was at the Nationals. I missed it so much. So much. All right, Josie. I think that's it for RC news. Here at the NNRC, we are all about the glory, and that glory is nitro. TNR Fuels is the hottest nitro fuel on the market, owned and operated by Chris Nelson and his family, made by racers for racers. TNR Fuel is currently available throughout the USA, so hit for more information or to support the company, or just purchase some fuel. I think they're in a lot of hobby shops too. Contact Chris Nelson at chris@tnrfuels.com or find them on House of RC or Facebook and just send him a message. He'll answer you and try some of the hottest new fuel on the market right now. And thank you, TNR Fuels, for sponsoring the podcast. Joseph, I think it's time to go on to the Beach RC bench racing Q&A because we got the Viking coming on here shortly to talk about his race. So let's answer some questions that people asked us on Facebook and Instagram. All right?
Okay.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lugz Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
Thank you to Beach RC for supporting the podcast. Thank you to Brent. Thank you to Lucas. Lucas is working hard. Brent's working hard. Brick and Mortar Hobby Shop. If you guys wish to support them and support the podcast, there's an affiliate link in this written description that you can use, and that helps us out a lot. All right, Joseph. We have some questions for you. Let me bring them up real quick. Well, just for us, period, but mostly for you. You know, you're the genius here. Yeah, the setup live. So here we go. We have a PM question from Peter. He wants to know, on bench testing shock setup, how to determine what level of pack in shocks is going to produce the desired result on the track. He says, for instance, when the track ready car is dropped and it just compresses with no rebound like a ball of dough versus the car squatting then rebounding a little, which is better for what track and what condition? I've seen RTR cars come with dough ball pack that seems to be handled really well, but in my off-road cars, a little rebound is better sometimes. Second part of this question. Well, let's answer that part of the question. He's talking about pack and rebound.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess when he says rebound, he means that after that you drop the car and it compresses how it goes back to ride height.
Yeah.
I guess that's what he means. I think it's really hard to determine on the bench what's going to work. I think you can tell if something is way off, if it's not good, but I don't know of a way to really tell if it will be good. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you can really tell that. On the bench, you can tell if it's sort of in the ballpark. So if you just lift your car up about 30 centimeters and drop it and it just slaps the table, then that's not going to be enough pack. Mm-hmm. Often you can notice that on 8-scale buggies, if one end is going to slap, it's the front. So if that's the case, if you just drop the car from 30 centimeters and the front hits the table, then it's most likely going to be too soft. Mm-hmm. What should happen is you should be able to drop the car and it just absorbs the landing.
Okay.
So the car doesn't hit that table. You can see that it moves slightly down and then comes back.
Got you.
Yeah. So just it lands like a cat.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like nothing really touches,
boom,
just like boom.
Settles. It lands and just settles quick.
Right.
You know, but you can have a ton of different setups that feel very different on the track, but on the bench, they all do that same thing. That's my point, that you can't really tell. You can tell if it's way off or if it's in the ballpark.
Right. So what about the rebound part of it? Because the second part of the question is, it's tricky. He says, second part of the question, it is tricky for the front and back pack to be balanced. If and when do we want front and rear rebound and pack to be symmetrical or different? So I guess it's saying, do you want some pack in the front shocks with rebound, or do you want them symmetrical? Do you want them, asymmetrical or whatever? I always built my shocks dead. Like that was the general consensus. Like build your shocks as dead as possible.
If he means rebound with that, you're building the shocks and you push the shaft in, and then does it rebound out or not? I found that most of the time, basically always, building the shocks dead will be the best way.
Why? Why is that though?
Because I think that it makes the car less bouncy and nervous, and also it makes the shock more consistent.
Okay.
Because if anything happens during a race, the shock will build pressure. So it heats up, it builds pressure a bit. So if you build it dead, maybe your shocks will have a bit of rebound when you actually run. You can test this. So you do a run and then immediately remove your shock and see if it has rebound.
Okay.
And then you can see. But so if you build the shock already with rebound, then I think that the pressure buildup can sometimes be a problem. Then you have too much rebound when it gets hot.
Right.
And
That makes sense.
And it makes sort of a noticeable difference, and you can have these inconsistent issues with your shocks. But when you build them really dead, then I don't really notice a change on the track. And as I said, it's also less nervous and bouncy feeling.
Okay.
So if that's what he means, then yeah, I just build them dead. And if what he means is when you drop the car on the bench, does the front and the rear, do they go down together and then move back up to ride height together? I think yes. I think that is the best way to do it. That should be the goal. Often an issue we have is that the front is a bit softer than the rear. So I would try to find a setting where the chassis moves together.
Okay. Yeah. I've never even thought about adjusting pack front and rear, to be honest. I just built my, whatever. Like, I guess I didn't think that deep, but that's a deep question. So good stuff. All right. Second question is from Everett. He wants to know, why can't Raw or IFMAR test tank size with a syringe like we do for our fuel mileage as racers? Did I tell you that, real quick on this tangent, even though I'm not fully convinced that Raw blew up these tanks, in episode number 77, actually Corey Jordan hit me to it. Miguel Matias explained this whole scenario about basically what happened at the Nationals last month. He described that 100% like in a podcast almost 2 years ago that I did.
Yeah, I know. I mentioned it to you. Okay. I said that Miguel mentioned this same thing.
I know, but
from like 20 years ago.
I know. The thing is that I can't. Like I told Corey, I was like, man, I've interviewed so many people, I forget half of what I'm talking about. But when I went back, I went back and listened to it. I was like, he's damn right. He described everything. So that's kind of changed my mind. Like we need to hold. I'm getting that tangent because I went on that tangent last night. But we need to hold Raw's feet to the fire on this, and they need to be testing this to see if it can be worked. For the syringe thing, why do you think that's so? Time, or just too much work, or maybe not as accurate as the.
Yeah, time and probably not as accurate. But they could. Or they could just have a pump that they work it the other way, so they suck the fuel out.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we talked about that, sucking it out. Yeah. So they need to test this now and see if it's been doing it. But it'd be something if they do these tests and find out just think about the ramifications.
Yeah, but even a syringe would be better than what they do now.
All right, so we have some Instagram questions. One from KB Wolf 83. Haven't heard from him in a while. He goes, "What's up, buddies? Been a while. What do you like better, tacos or burritos? Tacos all day. Street tacos from Santa Barbara and that place that we went to."
Yeah,
tacos. I still haven't found tacos as good as theirs. We need to get back to California. And he goes, "So last week we went racing at Rain Man's. Super awesome. That's in California. So I have a clue how to set up my Tekno ESC. What are some tips and pointers? And if you have time, transmitter setup as well." Well, unfortunately, I don't run 10 scale Tekno stuff. Joseph doesn't either. He doesn't have run 10 scale in a while. Transmitter, I used to run a little bit of curve. Joseph, do you still run like curve and all that stuff in your transmitter?
Sometimes, yeah. Some negative curve just to smooth out the initial response.
Yeah. As for your Tekno ESC settings, I would hit up my boy Sean Rusin. He might be able to help you out a little bit more. He works. I know he's been with Tekno for a long time, and he's been helping them out with their drag stuff. So check him out. I'm sorry, I'm just not well versed in Tekno controls and 10 scale and all that stuff. I can't answer that, man. I apologize, but thank you for the question. Jacob Gonzalez RC. I was struggling a bit this weekend with grip coming out of corners. When I ran my normal amount of toe at anti-squat, the car felt fine everywhere except for the high grip sweepers. The rear felt very nervous and kept wanting to grab and then let go. I dropped toe in the sweepers and it was perfect, but the exits, it was loose. I run a pretty low rear diff oil, and I was thinking, should I keep the toe and go up in the diff oil? Would that maybe achieve what I was hoping for? What do you think, Joseph?
What did he say that the surface was like?
It was high speed, high grip.
Yeah, so if the grip is consistent, so it's not a case of where there's high grip and then there's dust offline or dust in some sections, then I would run less towing. If it's a situation where, like he said, the car is loose exiting the corner, if that's because the track is loose, then I would run 3 degrees. So when the traction level is consistent around the track, I run 1.5. When there are differences in grip level, I run 3. And then as for the cornering, I think that most of the time towing just affects your corner speed. Not so much if the corner is high grip and you can't corner smoothly around it. I don't think reducing towing will make you corner smoothly around it. There's something else going on. There's something else wrong. So maybe the camber angle needs to be adjusted, or the anti-roll bar, or the roll center setting. So I don't know. He would need to explain better what the problem with the car is. But basically,
he was saying that he in the sweepers it was perfect, but on exits it was loose. And he went when he went to less tow, and he wants to know if he was thinking about going up in diff oil because he runs a very low rear diff oil, and he was wondering if that would help with the exit. I think. But
a thicker diff oil in the rear wouldn't help with the exit, but it would help in the sweeper. Right.
So he could put on the others the more toe, and then he could have a little bit more stability coming out of the corners. If that was the case.
Yes, but I would still need to know that what the problem was with the car in the sweeper. Like initially, what's the problem?
Right, I get that.
To really be able to give an answer, I would need to know that. Like, why was it better with the less toe? What didn't it do?
Got you.
But the main things in sweepers like that on high grip, then it's rear anti-roll bar, rear shock position, rear arm height, rear roll center, rear camber, those things.
Okay. Yeah, try
most of the time, like lower roll center, thinner anti-roll bar, more laid over shock will make the car softer, roll more. Standing up the shock, hard anti-roll bar, raising roll center, raising rear arm will make it stiffer. And you have to find the right balance for a situation like that, especially if there are bumps. So, yeah, that's where it gets tricky.
Make up one change and see. Try the higher diff oil. Or try the geometry changes like Joseph said. You'll see. Make one change and check it out. Thanks for the question, Jacob. Hyperflux 2.1. I like this guy's name on Instagram. How do you man up and throttle in a turn and stop being a bitch like myself and roll through them? I think you just gotta get more confident in you gotta get more confident in your throttle. You know what I mean? You gotta learn. I don't know how you drive, but if you listen, if you listen to like Tebow and like Dakota Fenn drive, and the minute amounts of input that they put into their throttle as they go around corners and all that stuff, it's utterly amazing. They're not, they don't get onto throttle till they can, like full throttle. I think it's, you know what? I'm going to say, this is what you do, because I'm an average racer too. Like when I first drove my Black Edition, I remember saying to you, Joseph, this thing doesn't turn. I can't get it to turn. It's pushing. And he's like, yeah, slow down, turn, and then accelerate mid-corner. You'll find it faster. I think that's where, I think a lot of people get on that. When I learned how to do that, with a C-Hub car, you kind of have to do that. Because I always race pillow ball. And if you learn how to do that good, you will be faster. It's faster for me to slow down, turn, and get on the throttle earlier in the corner and have the car pull out of the corner properly how you want it than it is to go in there hot, slam brakes, drift around there, and try to get on the, just baby the throttle around there. But it comes down to throttle control, man. I think you got to learn that. And once you can do that, you can get through those corners pretty fast. Picking your lines too. Wouldn't you agree, Joseph? Or am I completely wrong?
No, you're right. I mean, throttle control is key in racing. We actually control our cars a lot just with the throttle.
Oh man, you like even Mike Hill heard it this time, and he was at the Nationals. He's like, man, you heard T-Bus throttle, you heard this throttle. Oh, we got a guest coming in. All right, let's get through these questions real quick, and then we're gonna get into our IBC recap. Hyperfox has another question real quick, and this is about pucks. Why not use plastic blades on the diff cup to save pins like 10 scale on-road and some 10 scale buggies? I think that 8 scale buggies will rip this plastic puck system apart, and I think what with 8 scale buggies is people just change the pins. Have you ever thought of that, like a puck system, like what MIP has for?
But they don't even use it in 10 scale modified.
Right, they use it in stock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know about that. Hyper, but good question. I just think 8 scale will rip them to pieces, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not going to hold up.
All right. Okay, we have a couple more questions from Facebook. Craig Dickerson, why is everybody out of stock on parts? Shipping. We kind of went over that. Right now, it seems to be hard for people to get anything. And
it's COVID.
Yeah. Like PlayStation 5s, dude. I can't find a PlayStation 5. I was looking for one for my son. Nowhere to be found when I was in America. So I don't think it's any... And prices of material have gone up so much, too. Fred Costa, he wants to know, weight chassis, is it a band-aid? I guess he's talking about weighting chassis. Is it a band-aid for bad setup?
I think so, yes.
Okay. I could agree.
In full-scale racing, they add weights as a penalty. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, that's true, too. But weight can be good if you can distribute it properly, too.
Well, yes, but not when your car isn't at the minimum weight or below it. So.
Okay. All right. And our final question from Benjamin James. What's up, buddy? How you doing? With Ongaro's win in Nitro Buggy at the IBC, does this make him one of the favorites for the Worlds? Well, I think Ongaro is a favorite any race he enters. I was surprised with his performance. I thought he was going to be a little bit rusty, but he pulled it off. He's also still the current world champion, so I think he's a favorite any race he goes to. We're talking about Ongaro, and he's impressive, and he was impressive this past weekend at the IBC. So, yeah, I definitely think he's a favorite, and hopefully we have a Worlds here soon next year. Heard anything about that, Joseph? Have you heard? Are we going to Brazil or are we going to Redovon next year? Have you heard anything?
Not really, but I think we are going to Redovon next year.
I hope so. Not to say anything bad about Brazil. I would love to go there too, but I think the next Worlds needs to be somewhere where everybody wants to go, and Spain seems to be where everybody wants to go. All right. What do you think about Ongaro? Is he a favorite for you in the next Worlds?
Yeah, of course. I actually thought that with Verri leaving and with him seemingly having a girlfriend or something going on there, I don't know what. I had the feeling like, okay, this is now we're gonna see how much he really wants to race.
I know he just came up,
you know. But then, this race showed that. Yeah, he clearly still has it. He can work on his stuff, or his father can work on the stuff. So
I agree.
It's going to be okay.
Sweet. Well, you know what, guys? Thank you all for the questions. Thank you, Joseph, for answering them. We enjoy answering your questions. Keep them coming. Thank you to Beach RC for their support. Remember, use the affiliate link in the comments. It's not in the comments, in the written description to help us out and help Beach RC out. Show them some love. Showing us some love. We'll be waiting for your questions next week, people. All right, Joseph, our guest has showed up to help us with talk about the IBC race. I think we're just going to go straight into that now for the Tekno RC main interview.
Tekno RC. Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.teknorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Tekno RC. Excellence in engineering. #Tekno Takeover.
Thank you, Tekno RC, for bringing us the main interview. We had a big race this past weekend, Joseph. The International Buggy Challenge held at João Figueiredo's track in Barcelona. I think it's called Quinta I forgot the name already. But beautiful track. Beautiful facility. And this was supposed to host the RCGP race this year. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But what was even more beautiful was seeing the Europeans racing again, man. I think European racing needed this, Just. I was so excited about this. I geeked right out on this past weekend. So it was good to see they had decent coverage. I think the guy from Info RC did a good job, so I was able to follow it and share it. The Americans got into it as well. I mean, this, you got to imagine, this is the first time we've seen most of these European guys compete against each other. I'm talking about like Canas and Badier and all these guys since probably 2020 DNC, Joseph.
I know, it's a long time.
I know, it's crazy. And then the last time that they all really got together was the 2019 Euros. So this is almost like a mini Euros if you really want to look at it. It was really good to see. And like I said, it made the top 25 rankings and whatnot. I enjoyed it. I know I picked our guest to win this, and he didn't. I'm going to have to stop picking him because it seems like everybody that I pick, they don't win. So I'll stop picking our guest her and pick his nemesis so they lose. But it was a good race, and joining us all the way from Sweden, just coming off this race, he just got back like a day and a half ago, and he's in the midst of building his new house. We'd like to welcome the 2016 and two-time European champion, the Viking, David Ronnefalk from Sweden of HP Racing. What's up, Viking? Hold on. It's the freaking Viking. What's up? How you doing?
All good. Yeah, I finally back home after I had some canceled flights and stuff that I had to deal with on the way back, and it feels good to be back home after what was a good race and a good weekend after all.
Yeah. You got what happened with your flight? Was it due to COVID or something like that, or what happened?
They said there was an issue with the plane, and it was like the last one in the evening, basically. So I guess they had to fix it overnight or something, and then we had to fly again the next day. So you stayed in Portugal an extra day, or where was you? Yeah, they had a bus there that took all the passengers to an hotel, and we all had to stay at the hotel and got free meals and stuff there. So I mean, they kind of sorted it out for us. So, but I mean, it was like I came home basically just a day later, like 24 hours. Yeah, that happened to me here when I was coming back from America, going to Miami. So I know all about that. What was funny, I was doing the early screening of Driven the other day. Your dad was in there, and he's like, David just messaged me to come pick him up. And I told him I'm busy watching Driven. So he was all excited. Hey, dude, no matter, I know the Vikings didn't really come from Sweden. I know they're like more Norwegian and Denmark. But your nickname is stuck. The guys, the Spanish guys at Info RC during the race were calling you Vikingo. Oh, look at the Vikingo. And I said, oh, it's worked. It's stuck. And I'm so proud of that. All right. I had a few questions about this. It was a good weekend for you. Not as good as I wanted it to be. I wanted you to win. You was on the struggle bus a little bit in qualifying in buggy, but you kind of got it together. You won truck. Congratulations. You came second in ebuggy. Which is great, but we all know that the glory is nitro, and you end up coming second in that to Ongaro. Tell us a little bit about your race, and you did struggle. Like I think you had two qualifiers that were out of the top 15. I was worried about you. So what happened there? Yeah, I wasn't really worried, but we definitely were kind of far away with the setup when we arrived to the track. I just saw pictures and stuff. I didn't know what kind of grip we would get. I had some harder diffs in my car when I got there than I would usually go to a new track with, but it wasn't enough at all. It was, I think that the grip kind of faded like as the race went on because it got greasy with the oil from the exhaust on the top of the surface. But yeah, when we got there, the first couple of practice rounds, the grip was just insane. Oh yeah, it was crazy. So and with all the the way the Miguelo built the track, you kind of carry and all the time the car is going up and down. It was very hard. You needed to have a great setup on the car to be able to go fast and keep the flow through these rolling. The rollers on the back part of the right side of the track was definitely my struggle early on, and we had to
basically spent all practice rounds and qualifying before we kind of got to a point where I felt comfortable and could put in some consistent runs. But yeah, basically I only had, I mean, it was Q4 of Nitro Buggy. I got second, just 3/10 off DQ. And I think that's when I found some good things on the setup that made it possible for me to drive without mistakes for 5 minutes, because before that I couldn't even put 3 laps together.
I was worried about you. Really, I was like, oh man, I picked him and he's not doing well. I can't pick anybody. Real quick. So this was a glue. They treat this track with glue, correct? Like just regular white glue mixed with water?
Yeah, regular white glue mixed with water. I tried to figure out, like I asked Joao yesterday because I had some people asking from Sweden. So it was like on 100 liters water, you put 25 kilos of glue. So that was like a 1 to 5 mix kind of. So, and then they said they did it like 3-4 times. So yeah, I mean, just the facility itself, it was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the track was great. And
it had all right, so I just want to touch on the glue track. Joseph, you raced on the glue track that's where we met Don her, on the small glue track that we had her. So I've had some experience on this. It's like exactly what you said. When they first apply it, it's so high grip, like it's super, like too much, like, you know, your car is constant, your grip rolling and traction rolling and stuff like that. But as the nitro oil gets on it and the tires get on it, and like this track, nothing really broke apart, so it didn't really look like it might have. But I didn't really see a fine dust. Did it have a fine dust on the outside line, or was it just
no?
Right.
The funny thing is, like I made the race in Denmark and the race in Portugal in the same air filter. I didn't change.
Really?
Air filter one time during the 2 weekends of racing.
Right. So on the outside line,
so that's like no dust whatsoever.
Right. So on the outside line, it just wasn't. It was probably even more grip because, like, as you get the tires, that line, that blue groove that actually forms, you lose grip and your car can rotate a little better. I know that sounds different, but you don't get that. Yeah. I know exactly how that works, and that's when that track's at its best. I think, like when it's like that. I know. Yeah. People have been doing this to tracks for a long time. I think we mixed like one, and this is just like regular Elmer's glue, like, you know, like white glue that you use that some kids used to eat back in school. I know I did. But that's all it is. And you mix it. I think we mixed it 4-to-1, 4 gallons or maybe 5, and then put vinegar in it. I don't know why the vinegar was in there. And you just lay it out on the hill track, let it dry. But what I liked about this track was the red the infields. They painted it red, and you know how like when you go to a track that usually fades away eventually.
Yeah,
like
but they put glue on the whole piece of, you know, dirt. So I mean, everything was glue, and then they painted the glue basically on the infield. So I mean, it stayed. And every night, like if there was like, if there's a car, you know, crashed, maybe the front tower would rip the red apart a little bit, and there would be some dust developing. I mean, they would be right out in the evening to fix that and paint it red for the next day. So,
they worked. That's good.
I mean, the staff, it was crazy good organization and everything.
So this is y'all's track, right? He owns this, or is it run? How does it work?
Yeah, the figure 8 of the family owns it. So his father is kind of the main guy, and you know, what they put on, like with all the bleachers and everything, it was crazy. I mean, yeah, you had a lot of top guys, but I mean, the event would have been a lot bigger if it wasn't for COVID, of course, with more entries. But just to see, I saw some pictures like from this facility track like 2 years ago, and just to see what happened in the last 2 years with the new pit area and everything.
Beautiful.
I mean, and when I heard the plans from Jose, like Joao's father, it blows your mind what they have in mind to make happen there. So it would be really cool. I'm sure they will host a big, I mean, what I heard there, because Carlos came there on Friday or Saturday, he was there. And from what I heard, they were thinking about canceling Brazil, putting the Worlds in Redovan next year. And as Redovan was supposed to have the Euros, they put the Euros at this track instead.
That makes sense. So it gives this track the Euros next year, and then that would be great. Oh man, both of those tracks I want to go to. Man, please Please let me get to Europe next year. Please, please. All right. The bleachers. That was one of my, I'm a big bleacher guy. And they had like big grand, like the facility is just beautiful, man. And I didn't even go there, but just the pictures that I saw on the internet and whatnot, it was top notch. And the only obstacle that I did not like on that hurl track was that jump after the straightaway. Going to this sweep where you have to slow down and then you double. I think you doubled single. I would have liked to have seen that be a big send it triple or something. That's the only thing I didn't like on that track.
Yeah.
Anything. So did Miguel change anything in the track when he built it? Because it's the same footprint, but did he change any features?
I think they changed the left side of the track a little bit for this year. But yeah, more or less the track has been the same since he built it, I guess, 2 years ago now, because they had 2 races before this one.
How do you feel about that? Because a lot of the American people that were watching it were like, well, that's the same footprint and it's unfair and whatnot like that. And you've done extensive racing in America where they change the tracks frequently, especially when you go to like DNC, where it's a new track for everybody. How do you feel about that? The permanent track versus changing tracks, like changing layouts like they do in America?
I mean, I like, of course, it's always good when you can have a new track for the race, when everyone just shows up and it's the first time for everyone to hit the track, basically. But I mean, I understand, like for us in Europe, so we have a lot more like clubs running the tracks and stuff. And I understand it's more difficult to make this happen, like as a club, than if you would be a privateer to own the facility. So I think that's like one of the reasons why the tracks have been the same mainly here over in Europe for years. And I mean, when I came to this track, I knew from the start that, last year Canas was there, Robert was there, Bruno was there. I knew that it would take me a couple of practice rounds or whatever to kind of get into the rhythm and be able to go as fast as they could. Because like when we got there, the first practice round, I mean, you could see what drivers had been there before and what drivers hadn't. Canas was crazy fast out of the gate.
Super fast.
And everyone seemed to just like playing catch up to him in the practice. And Robert, he came pretty close. I think he was overnight TQ after the first day, right? Yep. In the end of the day, you see like Ongaro and me, we were the only, not the only two, but we were two drivers who hadn't been there before, and we finished first and second. Yeah. So I think in the end of the day, like, it's you won't be there in the start of the race maybe, but I think it doesn't really matter. In the end, everyone, the good drivers are going to be at the top.
The cream rises to the top. Cream rises to the top.
Of course, you have of course you have some advantage having been to the track and knowing what setup, what tires to go out on early on. But it's not like you're. It's pretty easy to see what the others are doing, and you can kind of they are using that tire, I will go for that tire and whatever. And then me and Adrian, we worked really hard. He was also racing plus 40, so he was testing stuff. I was testing stuff. I think I haven't wrenched as much as I did last weekend ever, because I was doing 3 classes and he was wrenching. I didn't have any mechanics, so I was doing 3 cars. So Cole was like, you know how it feels? Like, I know how it feels. I'm always alone, now you can feel it. And it was I didn't touch the truggy the whole event. And I mainly worked on the nitro and the ebuggy a little bit, but it was also good that he was running the plus 40 and he tried all crazy stuff that he came to think about. And in the end, we always seem to have we work good as a team, and we always find what is needed to go fast in the end. And I think we didn't have the 100% perfect setup car or whatever in the main. And I think to finish second, it's not a bad result.
Man, you're okay. I have a couple of questions before we go into your semi and your final. Any ring rust? You haven't really raced like big. I would consider this a big race. You haven't really raced a big race since DNC. You went to Denmark the week before. The Kiliches actually put a challenge to you in Denmark, and I was hoping you guys have a rematch at in Portugal. But did you feel any rust whatsoever? Maybe not with your skills, but just maybe not racing against such high competition for such a long time.
I think it was mainly, Denmark, Maine there. It was probably one of my worst drives in a long time. So I think it was a good practice, let's say, or whatever you call it, to warm up to this race here in Portugal, because I knew obviously the competition was going to be a lot tougher there, even though I had the Burak and the Berkan there in Denmark to fight against, which was good. Otherwise, they wouldn't have pushed me as much as I needed. And I think it was mainly when I came to Portugal, I think the rust was just running on that kind of grip. I haven't done that in a long time. I mean, all the tracks here in Sweden, they're old school, lower grip and whatever. So all the practice I've done this year has been on normal dirt, and it was the first time I came to something having that much grip for HC and Nitro since, I don't know when, maybe like 2018 Euros in Portugal, basically. So I think it was all, that together with not having the right setup was definitely hurting me in the start of the race. But once I got the car to do what I wanted, then I could start driving good. And actually, like from, I think A1 of ebuggy, that's kind of when everything, I felt really comfortable in that one. And I think it was an amazing race. I mean, it was clean, and we were like four guys, just the same speed. Yeah,
it was a good race.
And didn't do any big mistakes or whatever. Yeah. So I think that one was really nice. And like Adrian always tells me, like, if I think you drive shit, I tell you drive shit. But this one, he said, you drove really well. And then also, like, in the semi and the final of the Nitro, he said, like, it's one of the better drives I've seen for a long time. So, it was good that I had a race in Denmark, definitely the week before, to kind of shake off some rust. But I also had a lot of track time in Portugal, running 3 classes, I think, because we had like six practice rounds per class. Before the qualifying started. So it means I was on the track 18 times.
Wow. And there weren't a lot of entries. So you didn't have much downtime in between to get stuff ready.
No, I think there were 13 heats or something like that. No, not even, maybe 12 heats. And I was doing 3 classes, and then I had to marshal 3 heats. So that's basically six heats that I was busy. So, and luckily we had a guy there helping us, and also some other HV drivers that kind of helped me out with marshalling and stuff. So, without that, it wouldn't have been possible to work as much as I was able to do in the end on the Nitro car.
Awesome.
Before we go on, can I ask something?
Sure.
Yeah, because this track was so unique with the high grip, and it's still off-road, so you have off camber and you have jumps. But you didn't have any bumps. So what were the best changes you made? You go there and probably your car was very soft and it was impossible to drive fast. You would flip over. You couldn't be precise. That's what I'm guessing. So what were the best changes you made to find the speed?
I would say we came there with like the shock package made a huge difference. When I changed that, it was big. So we came with my standard setup, which is 5x15s, both front and rear. And I don't know what point at the race we changed. I think it was in the qualifying, to be honest, or maybe it was like end of practice, some time around there. We changed to 6-hole setup with 1.3 in front and 1.4 in the back, and that definitely helped the car just settle down and remove some pack and kind of edginess of the car with that setup. So that was big. I would say making the wheelbase longer in the back was definitely big as well. So I moved the rear arm towards the back 2 mil and also moved the hub back 1 mil. So that together with, when I did that at the same time, I also put the +5 standoffs on the rear shocks. And I think all that together was a big change. Diffs, we kind of kept them the same from the start. I mean, I came with, I think it was 10, 15, and 5 when I started. And obviously it was way too soft. And we felt that in the first practice. So then I went to 20 in the front, 15, and 6 or 7 in the back. We ended up running 7 in the end. And that was also, I mean, it helped having the front diff a little higher. What was funny about that was like when after the race, Robert and Canas, they were doing some testing while I was packing my stuff up, and I was speaking to Ricardo Monteiro, and he asked me some stuff, like he asked me what diff oils and stuff I was running, and I said I was running 20, 15, and 7. And he's like, oh, that's probably like the lightest I've heard anyone run this weekend. So then he told me like Robert was out there trying 50,000 in the center at the time after the race. So I don't know what they ran in the race, but yeah, he was trying 50,000 in the center diff after the race was done.
I think Savoia had 50,000.
But yeah, I mean, back to your question. Yeah, also Bruno. I know Bruno was pretty high because every time he came down the straightaway, he was like doing wheelie down the hill.
Was he? What? This
He
ebuggy was
had
on
a
fire.
big center diff. Yeah, ebuggy, but also nitro. He was doing like a wheelie sometime down the hill there.
That was
so
impressive.
It had to be a high diff, center diff. But yeah, back to your question, this shock package and moving the wheelbase back in the rear end. I think that was the first. I mean, that was the first time I could start feeling more comfortable on the track with the car.
What about ride height and down travel anti-roll bars? Were they pretty standard, or did you change them too?
Yeah, they were pretty standard. We went up in the roll bar, so my normal setup on a normal track would be like 2.2 in the front, 2.6 in the back, and I think we ended up running 2.5 and 2.7. So yeah, it's a little thicker, the roll bar. Springs, we went up one step, so usually I'm yellow and blue. I went gold and yellow. And then what else did you say?
Ride height, down travel.
Yeah, ride height was a bit lower, so I ran like 23, 24, 23 front, and usually I'm running like 24, 26. And then down travel, we limited it. I think I ran like 2 or 3 mil less than what I normally do. So maybe in the front, because usually I'm +1 in the front, -3 in the back, and I think I ended up 3.0 +3 in the front and -2 in the back. So yeah, just slightly less droop.
Yeah, is that referred to the bottom of the chassis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How about camber? Did you go to an
Central
extreme
base.
camber changes? I know we used to go to. Yeah. Interesting.
No, I was running like one in the front and 2 in the back.
All right. Well, here's the big question: tires. What was the go-to tires for this race? What were guys fast on?
So like before the race, I was talking to like Nicola. He already sent a bunch of tires there, so we kind of just started running hot race when I got there. Nicola was there to on hand with the support, so he wanted me to try some stuff, and we ran the Amazonia in medium compound starting out with, and also tried the Bangkok V2 and medium, and they both felt good. I think Amazonia had more forward drive, but they were like more grippy on the side, so I didn't really like them, and I think all the drivers using hot race ended up running the Bangkok in the end. And actually, as the track got greasier on top, I went back to a soft compound. But the funny thing with the track was that it had like, even when it was huge, like crazy high bite in the start, and the dirt was really sandy, so it felt like sandpaper on the top, really, and there was like no tire wear whatsoever. And it was a lot of chassis wear.
I heard that.
Like I put a new chassis on after qualifying, and after semi and main, it was like I could see the pills in the D block almost.
No way.
Yeah. So no tire wear, but a lot of chassis wear.
I did hear that. Wow, to change that.
Yeah.
Wow, Joseph, that's loud. What are you doing? That's crazy. Chassis wearing out before tires. What did you end up going out? That's what you used the Amazonia on.
No, Bangkok V2 was my tire. Yeah, so I went soft compound in the nitro finals and stuff.
All right, Joseph, do you have any more setup questions for Viking, or did that satisfy your
setup fetish?
I guess I'm satisfied. It's just that sometimes I think people sort of go overboard with setup when the track is extreme. And what tends to happen is, even like this track, the grip sort of went down a bit. And I think that I'm curious to know what Ongaro ran, but I wouldn't be surprised if his setup was relatively close to what he normally runs too. Like just the basic changes, ride height, down travel, anti-roll bar, spring, diff. That's really the main changes. And then you move the hub a bit and, like nothing extreme. Sometimes you see people go crazy with the setup and just change everything completely. And I just don't think that's the way. Do you, on a track like that, do you also think about your driving and maybe drive a bit differently? Or
I think you have to be like even more smooth and precise. I think David's car, it was probably a little bit easier in the final. My car was really good, but I felt like I was really, like when I had a mistake. I don't know what point of the final it was, but when he got by me, that's when I had the mistake in the kind of center chicane off camber stuff. I tried to get it back in front because I saved it. I went on the wheels, but he was already there on the inside, so I couldn't close the door. But that's when he got by, and I felt like at that point, like I had a really good feeling in the start. I was almost pulling away a little bit, like right away, basically. And then, afterwards, I probably should have gone medium tire because the track was a little different from in the day because this was kind of in the afternoon, so it cooled down and the track got a little more grippy again. So at this point, like it was probably midway through the final, and that's when I felt like the car became a little soft, and I felt like I was driving really good. I was doing like really nice lines, and everything was, under control, but I felt like I couldn't have done much better. And he was like, we were really close, but I felt like he had like the edge on me. So I just tried to stay in there, and it was unfortunate. It was like second to last pit stop or whatever. I had a lapper crash into the pit when I was coming into pit, so I had to avoid him. Ended up on the roof. The marshal put me back onto the straight, so I had to jump the pipes over to get back into pit. Mm-hmm. And that's when I lost like that 5, 6, 7 seconds, whatever I did lose, and he got enough gap to kind of cruise in the end. But I feel like I was driving really nice and tight lines, but he kind of got away with driving a little bit harder and wider lines probably. So, as I said, we didn't have we felt like afterwards that we didn't have the 100% perfect car, but it was not bad finishing second, only 7 seconds behind Davide, who had been, they've been racing in Italy for a long time already this year against each other. So, this was my first big race since DNC, like you said before. And I would be happy with this result. But definitely, you have to drive a little smoother, more careful. You can't be as aggressive on the steering wheel, I would say. And the only difficult thing with a track like this, with the amount of grip and with it not developing any bumps whatsoever, it's kind of one line around the track. So it's really hard to pass. You need to, force the guy in front to make like a small bubble to be able to stick your car into the inside of the next corner or whatever. It was just, a one line. You could see it in ebuggy first main as well. The only time they really passed was when they maybe set someone up really good. Like I know Bruno did on the straight one time. But it was really difficult to pass on this track because everyone was kind of careful. And also the inside was like the pipes. There was like, usually we have curbs in Europe. They do pipes in the USA. So, we were used to it, but it also means that you can, you have to be very careful not getting stuck on those pipes. And that's why you kind of, you don't want to risk hitting that pipe. So you kind of can't risk to try to pass on the inside or whatever. So it's very one line, I prefer it when you kind of have some bumps or whatever. But it's a beautiful track and really fun to drive on when you have the car working really good.
Yeah,
that's something I noticed also with how one line it is. So it's really bad, especially for qualifying. So if you are in a heat where you have traffic and the traffic doesn't let you go, you're going to lose a lot of time. I mean, and it's not just the track stuff, it's also how the layout is. The way the chicane is very in one line, you have to be on the inside everywhere. There's off-camber corners. So I think combining a layout like that and high grip like that isn't really the best. If you want to make a surface like that, I think you have to plan the layout a bit better for racing. So you make it so that the inside line is the slower line in a sense, so that like in Supercross, if you go wide, someone can pass you on the inside. So you go tight. Yeah. But if you go tight, it's slower, so the other guy can catch you. So that will make
basically, I mean, racing. Definitely like on the right side of the track, I mean, you could see everyone was just, inside everywhere. You couldn't do anything else. Yeah, it was just one line. And I think having that much like jumps and stuff, you need the track to be smooth it's not fun having a track like that when you can't really jump the jumps. So of course they had to treat it, and also it was a very sandy surface, they said, so that they had to do it, otherwise it would like completely blow out. Right. And they didn't want that. So yeah, like Joseph said, maybe the layout would have been to need to be a little different to be able to allow some more passes and stuff. Because it was definitely difficult to pass if the guy in front didn't make a mistake or whatever.
I saw you hit one of those go-kart tires through that chicane when in your main, and I thought it was over for you. You hit it so hard, I was like, oh, damn, he didn't break. And that would that chicane, that off-camber chicane was just like, you guys are going through it so fast. Like if you would have just been a few inches off, you'd have just went right down to the bottom of that off-camber section. And I think from what I watched when you was racing, I believe the V-Day was faster on the right-hand side of the track. Yeah. And you was just way faster than him from the middle. I would say from the middle part to that right side again. You was just making up your time. And I thought you had been in berserker mode. I was ready to celebrate. And then, I talked to you afterwards and you said it just got soft. But still a great result. I know you want to win. All you guys want to win. But there can only be one guy. But I love it because I think we see a great rivalry brewing between you and him. And even I was shocked with his performance because I thought he'd be, like Joseph said, we heard no Vari. He's not got Vari in his corner no more. And, we heard that he had a girlfriend, and you know how we think about when guys get girlfriends, how their careers go downhill. I don't know what Joseph's excuse is, but he just came out. I don't think he was the ever dominating Ongaro that we're probably used to. I think he played it safe. He probably waited till you made him, like you said, waited till you made your mistakes and took advantage of it. And once you give Ongaro something like that, it's hard to get it back, and he's just one of those guys you can't let that happen to. But I want to know what's up. Why isn't he wearing hats no more? He's just got the hood on in the front like that. I don't know. What's that? I'm going to ask him. I asked him to come on the podcast. I will ask him what's up with that haircut now. We got to get that fixed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, all these guys, it's funny because I was watching the Driven thing, right? Yeah. I don't look at that Canassi. He looks so young and he's got this short hair. And then I see him and in Portugal, he's got like this, like the Breton style going on, this long hair. I'm like, look at all these guys. Like they're getting older. The one person I wanted to talk about was Coelho. Coelho, Coelho. Said it right. You can see, I have to give this guy a lot of credit because he doesn't race this class much, but you can see where you guys, I think we noticed it in qualifying. He's super fast, but he's point and shoot. He wasn't able to jump like you guys. He wasn't able to attack the jumps and whip it like how you guys did. In this track, you kind of needed to do a lot of that, like setting up for the next corner and stuff like that. He was very point and shoot. He was still fast, but he's very point and shoot. I mean, I'm just saying, like for a guy that doesn't race this much, it's super impressive. But you can see where you guys are making up time, just attacking the jump faces harder and able to scrub speed and all that type of stuff. That's where the off-road's coming in. What do you think about that?
No, I think Drew, he drove really well. I know he went to this race. I don't know if it was the first year or last year or whatever it was, but so he had some time on the track. but I mean, of course, it's impressive, you know, what he's able to do in all the different classes. And I get what you say with him being point and shoot. Mm-hmm. I would say I would be kind of similar. Mm-hmm. I'm also kind of point and shoot more than, you know, driving wide lines and punch it. But I think, I mean, I was impressed by the skills in the jump, because on this track, you definitely, like you say, you needed to be able to scrub the speed and jump, you know, well to set up for the next corner and stuff. And I mean, he shows he has everything. So, and also the car looked, I mean, in qualifying, it looked really good. He was there in every qualifier, I think, fighting for the top spot. So I don't really know what was happening. I mean, what happened to him in the semi or in the main. But yeah, he was there all weekend, and he's fast. I mean, you always have to count him in, and he has a great support with Bayer was there as well, and his father was there to fit him. So, I mean, he's always going to be fast. You can never count him out.
Yeah, and I think, was it Ricardo Monteiro, the other Portuguese guy? Well, Yao was obviously, it's his track, but I've heard a lot of the Portuguese guys talk about Monteiro and whatnot. So I guess he's legit fast.
Yeah, Monteiro, I'm sure, I'm not really sure now, but I would say he's done some A-mains at the Euros and stuff, probably. Yeah. So yeah, he's fast. I mean, and from what I know, he lives pretty close, and Joao was saying to everyone that he was the guy to beat, because apparently, I don't know if he practiced some for the race or whatever, but yeah, he was fast. But yeah, I don't know where he finished in the end.
I think he was just out of the top 5, I think. Battier, great. This has probably been one of his best races in a while. Where did he finish? I forget. I don't even have the results. I should have. So he finished 3rd, but he was good in qualifying, and I think the Mugen looked really good out there. I think this track kind of suits the Mugen high bite, smooth, and he was able to, if he's running 50,000, he's probably running under that. But his car looked really great, and it looked like Robert of old. I mean, we're talking about him like he's some old washed up guy. He's only like 32, 33, same age as Tebow and those guys, maybe a little younger. He's just been around for so long, but definitely a great run for him. One of your old nemesis, because you've been racing Robert for a long time. What happened to Canas on the finals day?
Yeah, it was weird because, me and Canas were in the same semi, right? So we went out for the practice, and we were, I sent the times and stuff from that practice to JQ as well. And we were like on another level, him and I. We were like doing 33.5s while the others, they didn't really get into the 33-second laps. So I was really thinking it was going to be like between me and him. I felt really good in the semi practice, and obviously he was the same speed. Ongaro, for example, I think he had like a 34.3 in the semi practice, so he was like 7-8 tenths off. So I didn't really count him in, but again, you can never do that, right? And then for the semi, I was starting 3rd, Robert 2nd, and Canas 1st. In our semi, and they had mistakes early on, and I got in front, and basically I drove a clean race. I don't think I crashed in semi one time, and which allowed me to, I think in the end I was like 2-3 seconds ahead of Ongaro's time from the second semi, so which put me on pole for the main. But again, there, like, with that drive from the semi, I was, I beat Canas with 10-15 seconds in the semi. And with him being so close with me in the semi-practice, I thought, it would be a clear first, a pole for the main. But then again, I saw the other one, and Ongaro was going fast. So apparently they found something after the semi-practice. Maybe they tried some tires that didn't work. You never know what you do in semi-practice. So, but yeah, they were there in semi, and it was 3 seconds back. So then I kind of knew, okay, so it's going to be between me and David, basically, because Canas didn't really show the same speed in the semi that he did in semi-practice. And that's what kind of happened. Me and David checked out in the main, and it was a race between us. And, they were pretty close, maybe 10 seconds back or so, Canas and Robert. And I almost felt they were, like, staying the same, or maybe even – because Robert was going one pit less than me and David, I know. So maybe that's why it felt like he came a little closer at one point. But No, he was driving great, and I don't really know what happened to Canas, if it was the tires or, getting off. I don't really know what he ended up running. I saw the 6 MIG drivers, they tried Magma, but he was like on the fugitive, Weapon is the name of their, that kind of style tires, and he was on that for the event. So I don't know if he went to a Magma tire, whatever he did, but yeah, he definitely lost some speed when the track and temperature went down in the afternoon, and the final was about.
This race, I like to call it a mini Euros. It was missing a few people. How important? All right, I know you did well, but this race meant a lot. Like bragging rights, first time you guys all getting together in a long time to race. Was there any like in your part in the race, in the pits, was it like, hey, this is not just a regular race, this is something big like that we have to do, we haven't done this for a while, we want to win this? You want to win every race, but this one seemed to have a little bit more importance.
No, for sure. When you have that amount of top drivers at the same race, you always feel it's a important race that you want to do good at. And the pit was kind of big, and even though there wasn't a lot of entries, it looked like there were a lot of people there. And I knew that it was going to be a strong competition there when I got there, and it was going to be like the Euros, because basically this weekend was when the Euros was first going to be held this year, and they canceled the Euros. The IBC, which was meant to be in September, they moved it to this date because they knew that kind of everyone already checked this weekend off for the calendar. So they knew that everyone was going to be free now with the Euros not happening. So yeah, it honestly felt like a Euros. You were missing a couple of guys, like Boots wasn't able to go, Kilch Brothers wasn't there, probably forgetting someone, but the main guys.
Yeah, nobody forgot you, Joseph. We just didn't count you in.
Yeah. No, but you really felt it was a big one, and of course I wanted to win, but like I said, I didn't feel like I had everything 100% in the main, and I put on a great drive and finished within 10 seconds of Davide. And I think if you're not feeling perfect and you're that close and had that good of a race all main long, basically it's not a bad result. Sometimes I finish second and you walk down the driver's stand and you feel disappointed. This time I did not. So I was pretty pleased with the result.
I can vouch for that, because I talked to you shortly afterwards, and I thought you'd be a little bit upset, but you was cool. And I was like, all right, well, it was a good weekend. A first and 2 seconds. Yeah. You can't complain there.
I was more upset in the A3 of ebuggy, because it really felt like I had something there. I knew starting from fourth it would be tough, but having the first place from the first main and the second one in A2, it means it was either between me and Canas to win. I knew I had to win because his time was faster. I knew if I didn't win, I wouldn't be worse than second. So I was going for it in A3, and I think it was on lap 2 or 3 maybe. Davide crashed right in front. I had no chance to avoid it, and I ended up on the roof, and game over from there. So that kind of frustrated me even more, because I felt like I had the speed to go for it, and it would have been a fun race if it could have lasted to the end, but it didn't. But Nitro was all good. It was a good race, and I was pleased with the second place.
All right, Josie, you got any more questions for the Viking?
No, just that if they have the Euros there next year, I guess we have to go to the warm-up. If you don't go to the warm-up, you're screwed.
Yeah, so basically what I heard is, like, if they have the Euros there, they were going to make the warm-up this race, basically. So the warm-up will be the IBC.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's what I heard.
All right. What's next for you? You're going to finish off your house. I know that. But what do you think is going to happen for you racing-wise? Are you going to travel again?
Yeah, I think so. Next week I have the Swedish Nationals at my home track for 10 scale on AstroTurf. So it was good practice having raced on high grip last weekend with 8 scale. And then the week after that, we have the second round of the Swedish Nationals, and then I have 2 weeks off. So in these 2 weeks, I'm going to try to finish as much as I can here in the house to be able to move in sometime in August. And after that, I guess the next big international race would be Buggyland.
When's that?
That's going to be first week of October. So it's quite a while until
that's
then.
In Spain, correct?
Yeah, in Madrid.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I hope to be able to go to, actually.
Yeah.
Drive down to Southern Europe and spend some time over there and do the Buggyland race.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, being as the ENATS is going on right now, and Cole's there and already had some drama, I wanted to get your opinion on what happened to Cole at the Nationals, real quick, because you haven't said it. We talked about it, but it was unfortunate for him and Ty, to be honest. But rules are rules, and that's what happens. He's not the first person to be DQ'd from like that. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like you said, it's unfortunate. He was really quick there in the semi and would have had a great chance, I think, to win, honestly. He was looking great, and he had the speed, and he was consistent, and he felt confident and was happy about everything. So, yeah, it's a pity that he didn't get the chance to show that in the main. Rules are rules, and if your tank is over, you can't do much, right? So
exactly.
We know the HP tank is. It's on the limit. I always use like a limiter inside. He said he did. So then I guess it's just the temperature or whatever that's kind of got it even bigger. But yeah, I don't know when he checked it before, if it was like the same day he checked it just to make sure it was fine, or if it was like early in the week or whenever, like, you're at the main day. And my dad always goes to tech and check everything. So he do that like before the semi, whatever. And we always make sure to be, like well below the line. But I've been DQ'd as well. I've been DQ'd in Spain at the Spanish Nationals for having too big of a tank, and not much I can do.
Right,
they waited 10 minutes and they checked it again, and it was still too big. So I packed up and I went back home. It just sucks when it happens.
It does. It does.
And definitely at a big race like that, obviously he had a shot at the win, to win something that it would be the biggest one by far for him, and it just sucks that didn't get the chance, and we couldn't have the great fight that I think he would have been in the main watching from home.
Oh, he was definitely entertaining afterwards, though. It was funny to watch him. He was pissed off, and I get it. But you know what that done? It made people pay attention, and even though for me, what happened at that race with the fuel tank is the least of my concerns. It was a lot of the kind of incompetence that I saw there, and from Raw, not from, and if it wasn't for the owners of the track getting involved, I think it would have been a proper shit show. And that's what I'm more vexed at. But what this situation does is shine a lot of light on Raw and their shortcomings, and holding their feet to the fire to fix things and get things better. So that's the one positive thing about Cole and Ty getting DQ'd from this, if you can take anything out of that, and people won't change. So we're trying to fix Raw too, man. Fix Raw, we fix IFMAR. Viking, I know you got to get back to work. Let's see that Neo shirt real quick before you go. Here we go.
It's the Spain edition, but
yeah.
It'll work.
Joseph, you got anything you want to ask David before we let him go back to construction work?
Yeah, when can I come and stay at your house and go practice?
Yeah, when it's ready, you see. Yeah.
Do you have an extra bedroom for Joseph?
His kitchen.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I have one bedroom. Hold on, wait, right there.
Okay.
And one is behind this.
But it's in a pretty nice place, right? Is it close to the sea or the lake? Or something?
It's just like 1 minute to the sea, and yeah, there's a bunch of like summer houses around this area. So I have a golf course like 500 meters away, and paddle tennis court, and the sea just within 2 minutes.
So you live where people go on summer holidays?
Yeah.
Okay. I know all about that.
Cool.
I know all about that life. Joseph, he's like, not only does he want a room, he also wants a room next to the beach and the river and all this type of stuff. Jesus, Joseph. Like, hey, so make sure that room that you're going to give me is next to a beach and all the amenities that I could have. Like,
How far is the track?
ACL.
Yeah.
It's like 45 minutes.
Okay.
Hey, real quick before you go, what about your arena? Are you having the 10 scale nationals there or at your, when you said home track?
No, it's my club,
Okay.
or not my club, but my own club. They're hosting it outdoor next weekend.
Okay.
How is your own
super
track going?
Yeah.
I mean, now it's closed during summer. It's closed.
Okay.
But it will open. I mean, I have it closed from. I think we closed it like end of April, and we're probably gonna open back up when as long as the summer is fine, we stay outside. But if the weather gets bad, we open it up right away. So I can open it up. I guess probably end of September, early October.
Okay. And one last question. Can we, I know it's difficult to say and you don't know what's going on, but I know the Americans want to see you. I know, do you think we're going to see you in America this year, anytime later on this year?
Maybe. I mean, I haven't really been updated on the restrictions and stuff at the moment, and the travel restrictions, but if there is a race in November, December, whatever, maybe I'll come over and do some racing.
We should all go to Fallbro, but it might rain. So
Well, hopefully there's the RCGP in November.
that too,
in America,
yeah,
the last
yeah.
one.
So that would be great. That would be
Where would
awesome,
that be?
actually.
In El Paso?
I mean, it's scheduled for East Coast, but I told David,
okay.
I think it should just be El Paso because that race was prepared in the spring and then canceled. So if there's going to be one race, why not just make it that? That would make the most sense since everything was already prepared once.
And everything's on the West Coast anyway, like for RCGP. So good stuff. All right, Viking. Well, thank you for your time. I'll send you an invite to the Driven preview when you have some time. You can watch it. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for coming on her. I know you're busy, and I won't pick you anymore. Don't take it personal, but I want you to win. And thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on, man. It's always good to have you on. We got the freaking Viking. I'm telling you, it's stuck. They're calling you Vikingo, and I was just there like, see? Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah.
Take care, and have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
You too. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right,
Hey,
Joseph.
so Lefty, you need to come up with a good nickname for me then.
I have many nicknames for you. Rupert
What's
Pumper,
the best one though?
Rupert Pumpernickels.
No, that's not. They're never going to call me that.
No,
we
Beaker.
need something like
Beaker.
Nick Damon on RC Racing TV is going to call me that. Then.
No, Beaker's actually sticking with you really good right now. People are calling
that
you Beaker.
sucks.
No, it's not. Beaker is there. Anything you want to add about this race before we go into? I'm going to have Zach. Now we're going to play Zach Donovan's interview that I recorded earlier this week, and then we're going to go. Joseph and I are going to come back for the SCRC Thought of the Week, and then that's it. So,
I'm going to come back. I have to go. I have a Mayako members meeting.
yeah, well, you have 10 minutes. We're gonna knock this out of the way real quick. Thank you to David. Thank you to Tekno RC for bringing us this podcast. This part of the podcast. And now we're going to go into the interview with Zach Donovan, brought to you by Lugz Racing, because they have over 55 years of combined RC experience. They have been testing tire treads, wheels, and rubber for performance. The new Lugz Econ series of tires was developed with racing budgets in mind. High quality, but at lower cost, means savings that can be passed on to you, the customer. Lugz Racing also provides pure performance made using Lugz custom molds and proprietary rubber compound. Tires are available in medium, soft, super soft, and mega soft. Please visit them at lugsracing.com to save 30%. Actually, I don't have a promo code for this. I need to get a new promo code for it. But if you use NNRC Lugz, you will save some money. I just don't know how much you'll save at the moment. So go check out Lugz Racing. And thank you. Enjoy the talk I have with Zach Donovan. We get into a little bit of on-road racing and his leads because he was promoting his new website. And we got a little giveaway in there and some promo codes for you guys. So check it out. And Joseph, I'll see you back here for the SCRC Thought of the Week, okay?
Okay.
All right. I think it was 2019, pre-COVID. I had this gentleman on the podcast. He's probably got some of the best leads in RC. He's doing it full time. He's a racer, on-road racer, hard-working dude. He's just waking up on his second cup of coffee. What's up, Zach? How are you? Of Donathan. I always pronounce it wrong. Let's just pronounce it right, so I mess it up.
Right. So I'm Zac. I work at Donovan RC, and we make custom charging products for your remote control car, balance leads, phone leads, power supply cables, sensor wires, custom heat shrink, lipo bags, heated lipo bags.
Wow, you guys got heated lipo bags? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna have to explain to me where someone would want a heated lipo bag for.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we can jump into that if you like.
Well, first, I just want to introduce you a little bit. You are a racer. You're an on-road racer. You've been doing now Donovan RC for how long?
About 5 years now. Okay. So we started out as like a resale company, and then we pivoted to a charge leads company, charge leads manufacturer. Once I kind of realized how much of a pain in the butt resale was, like it's good profit out there, but it's a lot of work, and you always got to be first to the customer and on the sale. And I was making charge leads the whole time, and kind of just had enough base built up to just do charge leads.
Yeah, you're real popular. I see you on Joe Zaire's podcast, Ran Out of Talent. I know he's been promoting you for a long time. One of my buddies who comes on this podcast too, a lot and has his own thing going, RC Kevin up in Quebec. So I see lots of people running your leads. I have to actually order some new iPhone ones because they lasted a while, but they broke. I told you, we talked about that. But hopefully but they broke through, honestly, through my negligence, just, treat them rough,
okay. So we actually have a new and improved iPhone lineup.
Okay.
And so all of our phone cables now come with a 12-month warranty.
Sweet. That's a long warranty.
Yeah. If you break them in 12 months, we'll send you a new one.
Wow. I'm going to have to order some new ones. My wife really liked them. She liked our pink one. And we got the customized No Name RC podcast on the heat shrink. They were nice. I'm going to order 2 more. One for her. One. We need long ones. My wife goes through charge cables, like I don't know what. I've never seen, but my whole family uses iPhone charge cables. So, I'm going to order a few, but I appreciate that. You are a racer. You race on-road. You just recently done the on-road carpet nationals at Coastal RC in Virginia. Mm-hmm. And we got talking about that. How was that?
From a racing standpoint, mm-hmm. It was tough. The talent. So the talent field in stock in on road, which is 21.5, is pretty deep. Mm-hmm. There's almost 20 guys that could be the next world champion.
Really?
Yeah. And especially those top 5 spots are. And sometimes you guys have really good weekends that are normally in the A, like in the back of the A, and so they have a really, really good weekend, and next thing you know, they're world champion. But so I like racing modified touring car mm-hmm. and stock, and you can't do that in a road race. So I ran super stock and modified. So the same guys pretty much run those 2 classes, and the top. There was 12 mod drivers, and the top 6, I think, are national champions, or mm-hmm. That maybe that's not the right word, but
regional champions.
Drew Ellis. Yeah, Drew Ellis, Kemp Anderson.
Right.
These guys that are just absolute killers. Mm-hmm. And then you got those same guys running 17.5. And so it's, one mistake and that's it. That's the difference between first and, well, not first, I'm not running first, but maybe 5th through 5th to last, 10th or so. But it's really fun. The layout was really challenging. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of crashes from guys that don't normally crash. And so that was interesting. Of course, Sam Isaacs put on a hell of a show in mod. He's always a good time to watch.
Where's he from? I've heard that name before.
I believe he's from Maryland.
Mm.
And Sam popped on the on-road scene probably about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he is just a hell of a wheel and super nice guy. He used to run for X-Ray, and then Osmatics picked him up and kind of further developed his talent. Now he's probably the best touring car racer we have to offer right now.
Really?
I would say, if he's not the best, top 5.
Man,
in the U.S.
Osmatics is pushing out some really great product and like revolutionary stuff too, by the way. Did you race 12 scale at this race too, or is it just for 10 scale carpet?
No, they had 12 scale class. 12 scale is expensive. It's probably a little cheaper than like 8 scale off-road at a high bike track, but every round's fresh tires, and the tires are like 25 or 30 bucks a set, and you have to buy them at the track. There's no discounts. And then you got to buy practice tires, and then you got to get really good batteries, fresh batteries. You can't be having something that's a year old or whatever. Motor's super important in 12 scale, so you got to have the right motor. So guys have 3 or 4 different motors, and it's there's a lot to 12 scale, like financially, just to make if you want to be like really competitive in it. So
don't they have like a spec class where they use like vintage, or do you have to use scale bodies on them as well?
So that's a newer class. It's called GT12.
Okay.
And they use the SJT tire, which is Scott Jakes from Destiny, which is another on-road brand. And that they use more of instead of a wedge-shaped body, they use more of a scale type looking body, like more of a Porsche type thing. And that's a good class, but there's not a lot of the hardcore 12 scale guys still run foam tire wedge shaped bodies, and they don't really prefer the rubber tire class.
Okay, so the GT12 uses rubber tires then. Okay, because as I was telling you before, I've my interest in on-road has peaked a little bit because I've had the doctor on her, Alexander Hagberg. So he talked about a lot, and we've become like, we kind of probably have a bromance going on because he likes Star Wars, I like Star Wars, and we talk quite often. Super nice guy, he gets it, super smart, and he was telling me about that actually 12 scale is starting to come back in certain areas because of that class in particular, the spec class. So that's good to see. Let's talk about real quick Coastal RC, because I know the Schimmels, very nice people. I know Barry, I know the father, and I know the older son, which is Brennan. Looks like a great facility. They have one badass mini Z track too. I know that.
So yeah, the facility was really nice. It's a really large facility. They have two full-size tracks, like 80 by maybe 80 or 50 by 90. Excuse me, 80 or 90 by 50 feet. And then so an off-road and on-road track, they have a crawler space. They're doing drag racing now behind the building. They have a really nice paved lot back there. I didn't see the mini Z track, but the off-road track was also tore down, so we could have pits, enough pits for all the racers there for the on-road race. The crawling space looked really cool. It's looks like scale mountains.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm sure there's some pictures on their Facebook page. But Barry and then Jameson are really knockout guys, and then they have this a nice little cafe there, food and some drinks and stuff, and it was really nice. Their hobby shop had all the stuff I needed. Actually, I bet a couple pieces on my car. I didn't realize until I was going through them. It was the steering arms, which are aluminum, and when you fling the car off the track, it doesn't like that.
You know what's funny? I had a buddy who was racing in Puerto Rico this past weekend, And they had a big race there in Puerto Rico, like outdoor, like nitro as well as 10 scale electric as well. He went up there. He's from the Southeast. So I was like, hey, you won in Puerto Rico. He goes, yeah, but you wouldn't believe it. The first time I went out there for my qualifying, my car wouldn't go. And I was like, why my car wouldn't go? And then he did what I done once, which was driving somebody else's car, and his car smashed into a wall, and he had to put it all back together, and everybody helped him out. So yeah, you definitely don't want to be hitting walls or pipes with these on-road cars. Yeah, I have to get up there and check it out and really go have a visit of their facility. I've been meaning to. I mean, I was just it was just a little bit far away from me from Charlotte this last trip, but hopefully next time I can go up there. But really good people. I'm glad they got the nationals there. How is the on-road? Because you basically do you do outdoor at all, or just all carpet?
So I've been racing for this winter with my 28th year racing, and I've raced off-road. I've raced every class except the newer ones, like the rubber tire 12 scale. Right. So, I just enjoy on-road.
No, I get that, but I mean, I'm talking about more on. I'm probably missaid, but on-road carpet versus outdoor versus outdoor racing. Do you do any outdoor on-road at all?
No, there's no. There's no asphalt tracks around me. There was a local track. So I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, and there's not a lot of tracks around here because there's not a big RC community.
Okay.
It's starting to grow back up, and there's two tracks. One's an oval track, and the carpet oval track, and that's kind of all they do. Really nice people. And then there's an indoor clay oval and an indoor clay off-road track.
Okay.
But there's the closest on-road track to me is 2.5 hours away.
Okay, so the majority of the on-road racing being done in the USA is, you would say, indoor carpet racing?
Yeah, I would say like probably 90% of it.
All right, how is the state of on-road in America?
It's okay. I think it's declining right now, but it seems to be like cyclical. So, or if it's not declining, it might plateau. It's kind of, when you go to these big races, you see the same guys plus a handful of locals. I remember when I first started, there was a bunch of different guys running, and you could go to, national events and have you might have like 4 or 5 guys, in the same, national event. The top guys always be in the top, but those bottom 5 places are up for grabs. And now it's kind of, the top 10, if you read the it's kind of.
Right. I get that. You know what's booming right now, it looks like, is that GT class, man. The 8 scale electric and the Nitro GT class. I see like Bruno Coelho is big into that now, and X-Ray is pushing that really hard. I know it's big in Latin America. It's actually, I think that actually is the only people that's still racing here, to be honest, in the DR. I have one back there. That's right there. I need to get it fixed. That is a very interesting class. I think that's going to be big for on-road, but I definitely can see why people want to do it in carpet. And is there a lot of tracks on the Northeast? Because the Northeast seems to have a good concentration of on-road racers.
Yeah, so there's like pockets. So there's like in the Boston area, there's quite a few tracks.
Really?
And like Florida, Georgia, around in there, there's I know there's 2 or 3 on-road tracks. In California, there's they do a lot of asphalt racing over there, but there are some carpet facilities. And then in like Minnesota, Iowa area, and there's another big pocket. And then in like Indiana, Wisconsin, Ohio, there's a lot of on-road racers there too.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get back to the glory days of 10 scale touring car when they just did it in parking lots and it was really big, like Barry Baker days. Not right now, but anything can happen, and I think we just have to see. I think GT might go that way because you can kind of drive them on an unprepared surface to an extent, which will help people a lot, but it's expensive too. You know, when the tires and stuff are expensive. They're like the price of 8-scale buggy tires, I believe. So good stuff.
I mean, I see guys running off-road, and I can throw that argument right out the window because every off-road guy has an easy $1,000 worth of tires in their truck at all times, and they're always buying new tires.
I agree.
And they take this $300 stock car, and then they have to have $1,000 worth of upgrades for it, plus spares. So, I mean, the argument for...
Oh, you're talking 10 scale. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and 8 scale is, you don't have to have as many upgrades, but you still have to have as many tires.
Yeah.
So, and those things cost, you know, just as much as a touring car. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, guys somehow like doing that more, and that's okay. That's, you know, everyone's got their own thing. But when somebody says it costs more to run on-road versus off-road, especially now in today's, you know, high bike racing service where tires don't last that long, for off-road, then I really disagree with that.
I would have to argue with that, though. I do think GT racing, the actual GT, like the Formula One with the firm tires, and guys have got like 5 motors, you know, they like what Ballast, what's his name? Oh, you know what Infinity and all these guys run, the actual GT cars, that is quite expensive. But
is that the 10th off-road?
No, this is on-road. This is the 8-scale GT class, like the top of the line. The one that Kalari's won like 9 times. That can get expensive.
Yeah, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think, like with touring car, you guys obviously use firm tires. How long does a set of firm tires last you guys for like a race?
We use rubber tires.
You use rubber tires. How long do they last?
So for the Nationals, I bought 2 sets per class. I bought a practice set and a race set.
And that's it?
Yeah. And then I took those same tires and I go club race with them. And I'll get 5 or 6 club races out of my race set, and then maybe 2 or 3 races out of my practice set because I put more laps on the practice set.
That's good.
Like race days.
Yeah.
Not just like...
Right.
So, and they're $30 a set or 25 depending on what it is. But you get a
set of 4
bang for your buck. Yeah, so 4.
Oh, that's nothing. That's cheap.
Pre-glued, spec. So there's like 3 major tires in the on-road scene. It's nice. You can go anywhere with like 2 tires and have, you know,
that is good.
Like 1 set of each tire. Yeah.
That's good. We need more spec tire racing in off-road. It's probably one of the best things you can have. I know it hurts the tire companies, but it's great for the racer. They just don't realize it.
You know, I think if the tire companies get on the spec tire, and then they, you know, one thing that I think didn't do well when implementing or whoever decided to implement the spec tire thing, maybe we'll call the race directors out, like having the ability for, if there's 6 rounds and having a set available for each round, you know, at $30 or $25 a set, then, you know, it's not really a spec tire. I mean, you don't have to bring as many tires to the track with you, but you still have to have practice tires, and guys are still one running, you know, like 12 scale tires, for example. It's like one run.
They should make some rules about that.
Well, so if you say they have to be such size, then, you know, smaller tires are always faster for 12 scale on like higher grip surfaces. So if you say the tire has to be so big when you start, well, then if you run it a bunch, it gets smaller, and then it becomes faster. And so I think limiting the number of tires versus having, you know, maybe having 3 sets versus 6 for your 6 rounds, or, you know, how many of the rounds you have, I think that'd be more helpful. Yeah,
we at RCGP, they did it when I went in the USA run. You got the first day I believe you can buy a practice round of tires, but you had to, the next day when seeding started or when qualifying started, you had to be on a new set of tires, right? Now, the tires were like $40 for a set. You could only buy 1 set per day if you wanted to. You didn't have to, right? And if you bumped, you could, and the only people, like on the last day, you were allowed to buy another set if you made the, if you made the final. You can have a fresh set good on the final. I know guys that just use 2 pairs of tires the entire time they're out there. But it's a placebo, man. We're men and we want to spend thousands of dollars on tires. I think it's crazy. But especially off-road. I definitely would agree there. The off-road version of that is crazy. I was talking more about the 8-scale GT class. GP. Yeah, that's the ones based off the buggy. They're like buggy sized tires too, and they're a little expensive, but I'm hoping that they come down a little bit. But I think it's a great class, and it's booming in Latin America right now. So we shall see. All right, dude. On-road, we need to fix that too. We need to get more people running on-road and doing that.
Well, I mean, at the current, because everything's so competitive and on-road and there's such big concentrations, like the guys that are left are really good,
right?
Type of thing. So it's a big learning curve. And then we're like off-road or oval, drag racing, stuff like that. You don't need a ton of setup knowledge. You need, a little bit. The cars drive pretty well, but at the end of the day, it's who makes a mistake that really loses it. And on-road, if your car doesn't work, you're not doing anything, and you're not going to have fun because you're getting passed 16 times on the track. And a lot of that still goes down to driving and stuff like that. But it's harder to drive on-road at a track level than I would say off-road at like a club level.
Right, because the setup's so important if on-road.
Yeah. And then you got to have tools to check it. And the tools, for the proper tools, you can get a camber gauge, but you need a setup station, especially if you're dealing with a car that has caster set independently from camber. So, you need that. You need right eighth gauge. Got to have a flat board versus a table. Yeah.
I see guys using setup boards in off-road and 8-scale buggies, and I just think it's kind of like a waste because you can go out there, one jump, land wrong, and knock all that stuff. Yeah. Off-road's so different. Setup is important, yes, but nowhere near to the exact point that it has to be with on-road. I totally agree. Is there besides the 12-scale spec class, is there a spec class for newbies or anybody wishing to get into the touring car side of this?
Yeah, so there's so there's a class called USVTA, which is a vintage Trans Am, has like that 70s muscle car look. They use a spec tire that's the same throughout the whole country from Protoform. And the tires last quite a long time. Okay. And you can be really competitive in touring car with an older chassis, but more so in VTA because you're going slower. It's a 25.5 motor, weighs a little bit more, so you don't have to cut any weight out of the car. Not that most cars now are super light anyway, but you don't have to be super strategic about all that stuff. Especially at that club level, and it's a really fun class, and you can get like an older, like an X-Ray or something like that, like a 15, 16, there's a million of them out there you can pick up for cheap, and there's a bunch of parts for them, and super durable car, and it's a reasonable speed for new guys, and a lot of classes, or a lot of tracks are doing like this, like a breakout style class, so you can run pretty much any car you want. But if you get like, say the touring cars are running like 8-second laps and they set the breakout time at like 14 seconds or something like that. So it's a much slower pace, and it doesn't matter if you want to go run 8-second laps, you can, but you're going to be a lot slower because you're going to be breaking out every lap. Gotcha. So that's a new class some tracks are implementing that are really friendly for newcomers.
Sweet. I hope it grows, man. Like I said, I've had another vested interest in this after talking to Alex, and I want all forms of RC to grow. So, if you're interested in on-road, let's check it out. There is a spec class to get into it, and you can, learn how to race right there and learn all your, cut your teeth and learn everything you need to know before you go up and step up to the big boys. Race with Zac and these guys. All right. All right, Zac. So you have a new website for Donathan RC products or RC leads. It's called I'm going to pull it up here now. So we got the drcproshop.com. Now, I had a quick look through this. You've put a lot of work into this website.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to let's go to a balance charge lead, sir. Balance charge leads. Oh, hold on. Am I in there?
Yeah, so we did it a little bit differently. So if you click on all balance leads where you're at now, it'll pull up all your, pretty much all the charge leads that we offer for RC cars, and then you can select which one you need.
Let's select one.
Or you can go by category and choose like a 1S, 2S, 4S, etc.
All right, let's go to a 2S lead here. Can we? Okay, so where's the ones that we can?
You gotta click on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you click on the lead. Right, here we go.
Yeah.
So this is cool because you never had this before. So now you can come right in here and customize everything from the length, wire gauge, lead type, balance connector, charger connector, charger side angle, connector angle. Oh, wow. Yeah, I never even thought of that. Then your different types of battery connectors that you want. You can go, it has wow, you put a lot of work into this website, dude. A lot of work.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is actually pretty cool. I was looking for some leads the other day. I was looking to make some for my RC boat. So I needed something like with 10 gauge wire and one of these EC8 connectors that are really hard to find.
EC8?
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's a really thick wire. It's for an RC boat. I got a Bill Oxidine boat, so you got like 3S just running through it at wide open. Select side connector angle. That's cool. Outside heat shrink. You have a few different colors: red, white, green, blue, yellow.
So, and then all these are numbered to coincide with the diagram at the top.
Look at that. Wow. This took a lot of work. This makes things so much easier for people. And what happens there is that people can see what they're pretty much not see, but they have an idea of what their leads are going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of work, dude. That's a lot of work, but it's good. It's good. It's good for you. So when did this go live?
Maybe about a month ago. We had a soft opening.
Okay. Yeah, because that's when you did contact me. Yeah, I was traveling. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then another feature, when Keenan pulled this up earlier, you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner, it has a current shipment date. Yeah. So then you'll see that pop up when you visit the site. And if that's the first time you're visiting the site, otherwise it's just a tab at the corner on all our products, and then you can. So there's no like, well, when is this going to ship or any of that? So we try to eliminate all the problems we had with the old website. So now you can, like Keenan was saying, you can pick the picture of the product you want, and then if you hover over those, it'll pop up a description.
Yeah.
Or if you click on them, it'll put the description in the option. And then we have a bunch of photos and diagrams in the pictures for our products. And now the contact form actually works and sends us information if you need to contact us to have a question, or you can always send us a message on Facebook, social media, email, call, text. All that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm just going through looking at the motor analyzer lead. Any new things coming out, or any new plans for anything new?
So most recent thing that we launched was our lipo bag and our lipo safe.
Lipo bag.
So the lipo bag is a little larger. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the heated one. This is what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
I've never seen heated. I've never heard of heated lipo bags. I guess you would need this if you're like in the snow or something like that. But yeah, let's talk about that.
So the heated lipo sleeve is it's to replace high amp discharging. So guys like to discharge at high amps, and discharging at high amps can be unsafe. for a number of reasons. There's a lot of literature I've done on this, and then you can view a bunch of videos online on our social media pages as well as to why it's unsafe. If you guys haven't seen a lipo fire from high amp discharging, you definitely are more fortunate. I've seen quite a few, and it gets nasty. It sounds like there's a jet engine going off.
Oh, I know.
In your pit, yeah. So it's crazy. And a lot of times, guys that are high amp discharging don't use a lipo bag of some kind, and so there's just a battery on fire on your table that is just burning everything up. Or your car, or, you know, if you're charging your car or whatever. So we developed this is the version 2 of our heated product. So before we had a heated lipo bag, which only had the one heating element in the bottom. Our heated lipo sleeve has 4 heating elements, and it's expandable. So you can fit up to 3 1S batteries in there, 2 2S batteries, or 1 4S battery. And essentially what heating a battery does, whether you're discharging at high amps or using a heated source like our heated lipo sleeve, is you so first off, you get more punch out of the battery, and then secondly, which I would argue is probably a little more important, is you get less fade. So you can plot this on, if you use like an iCharger, or there's a few other different brands, and then we actually have the graphs online as well, I believe under information about the discharge curve. So that's how you plot. So it's time over voltage, and that gives you the discharge curve. And the flatter, so the flatter the curve to your voltage cutoff, like where you end at your race. So for on-road guys, it's like 3.85 volts per cell. So we go 420 to 3.85 volts, 3.85 volts per cell on that graph, and then whichever one has the least fade, so over that time, or lasts longer during those time periods, that really plays a big difference in how much fade you have during your run.
Right. So the heating does what to it? Just helps with the discharge, or that's what I'm trying to figure out here. You're probably going to have to dumb it down for me.
That's okay. So if you're using a heated bag, you're not going to be discharging. It replaces it's supposed to replace the high amp discharging so guys are high amp discharging to build heat into the batteries.
Oh,
and this substitutes that.
Gotcha.
Some guys still like the high amp discharge, and then they'll keep it in our heated lipo sleeve just to keep it warm at the end. That way you can still control the temperature and when to pull it off. So if you're high amp discharging, you have to build out this 30-minute time slot to get it perfect, plus the time it needs to cool down to the right temperature before you can get it on the track. So it's kind of a really big timing piece. And with this, what we do is like the 320 rule. So an hour before I go out and run my car, I'll put it, the lipo sleeve will be on, and I'll just put it in there for 20 minutes before I charge. And then I charge at 20 amps, and then 20 minutes before I go run, I take it out. So it's in there for about 45, 50 minutes. And then I take it out of there and then put it, go on the track at the appropriate temperature.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and there's, the rules need to be updated, and heating a battery, especially one with like ours that have a built-in safety feature so that the heating elements don't reach 400 degrees. Like some of the other bags out there that I'm not naming names, but just be careful if you're not using ours. That I've seen some stuff, man. So just check on your stuff.
Yeah.
And
I've had 2 lipo fires, dude. They're both with 4 S's, and not me personally, but I was there and saved the pits. Lipo bags, like in England, you can't even, if you're caught at a race charging your battery in your car, you're kicked out of the race.
So
But it's expensive.
Yeah.
You're destroying the track's property. You're destroying your property.
Yep.
You know, you could burn down the whole building, really.
yeah, that's more why they're doing it, because these are like school halls and gymnasiums and stuff like that. They can, you know, this would
Yeah.
be like I've had in Southern Nats, we had Joseph was charging my starter box and blew up my 4S battery in there, and the amount of fire and the man-made mineral fibers that you inhale from that toxic exhaust, like the toxic smoke that these things produce, and inside at that, it stunk for the whole day. Like, you know what I mean? And luckily, the other one was outside. So, yeah, it's no joke, man. It's no joke. I'm just looking through the website here. Your charge cables for phones. Yeah, you got a lot of cables, man. You got a lot of stuff.
So the cool thing is, if you're using like the Sanwa M17 radio with our particular magnetic lead, but all of our phone leads work with it. So that's the micro USB connector.
Really?
So what guys are doing is they're leaving. So the magnetic leads actually have the part you plug into your phone separate, or radio separate from your charge leads. So guys are leaving that in there, and then they just close the flap. And then when they come back to the pit, they open the flap, and then the cord's magnetic. So you just set it by it, and then it charges it like that.
That's so cool. Like, you just have to connect it, your radio, and it's always charged.
Yeah.
Oh, so much easier. So much easier than anything else. Oh,
wow.
It's
pretty nice.
That's
and then you
badass.
can get different ends with it, and use the same cord for your phone, your Bluetooth speaker, like you got a gaming console, charge that up, your earbuds. You know, there's everything that uses that kind of stuff. We have cables for them. You know, they're fully customized with your choice of sheathing, heat shrink. We got different lengths. And again, all of our phone leads come with a 12-month no BS warranty. So
good stuff.
And then, you know, they're really great for Christmas presents. Around Christmas time, we get a big bunch of orders for them for gifts for the family. And it's, you know, it's good to see that people are choosing us for their family. It's nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Some fast charging leads, round style leads. And you got cables for everything. All right, man. You know what? You also have a coupon code for anybody that's listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube. You can go to www.drcproshop.com, use the coupon code no name in all in lowercase, and you save 20% off orders $50 or more. So go in there and stock up and get some leads, man. Customize them. I must admit, I did like my pimped out custom leads. I'm gonna have to order some more for sure. Anything else coming up for the future here for you, Zac, for your team, guys? What can we expect for the rest of 2021 from you guys?
So we just launched our 2022 charge leads, which is a little early. Normally we don't do it this early, but we were able to get everything in and finalized. So the new balance leads are super flexible, which is all of our charge leads now are the newest version. They're more flexible than our old leads. They're capable of higher amperages because we made them out of better wire. And then, you know, they have better connectors as well. The fit of them, and then over time, the durability of them is better. Then the leads itself are more durable, offering, you know, better value for the customer at the same price as we were before, for same starting prices we were before.
Yeah, man, you are definitely taking this by storm. This looks great. I like this. The whole website's very nice. Good job, man. You do this. This is amazing. And this, as electric becomes more popular, these good charge leads and having proper equipment like this is going to be beneficial for guys. Gone are the days of just kind of doing your own thing and just making it work. You need proper stuff now.
Yeah, well, especially with the LiPo batteries, and, you know, where tracks are checking voltage to make sure you're not over. And, you know, being over is no good, but being under is no good either. And one of the gentlemen, the 12 scale worlds got disqualified for having a battery that was over voltage.
Right.
And he wasn't using a balanced charge lead for his 1S battery. So the gentleman who uses my leads was also there, and he had the same voltage every time he went up to tech. And I think you'll find that to be the case for all classes using our leads. And, it's really important. That way, not only you get a consistent charge, but sometimes, especially at that higher level, you need to make sure you're not missing out on any opportunities by leaving voltage, by not charging your battery all the way up.
That makes sense. It's like the whole fuel tank thing at the recent Raw Nationals. It's better to be under, but if you're under, you lose a little bit of fuel mileage, but it's safe. So interesting stuff. I never even thought about the voltages being that would have to be for stock, right? Or did they test voltage for mod too?
I believe they test it for both stock and mod. Okay. In mod, a lot of guys undercharge their batteries because, especially in like mod touring car, because it's bananas, man. Like I can't really hang on to that thing. It's super fun, but you're driving with a quarter throttle until you get down to the straight, and then it's a roll onto it. You can't just, there's carpet. Not just that. Yeah, on carpet. Yeah, it's fun, but you're driving with a little bit of throttle. You're not, getting
right.
after
I get that. Cool. Well, you know what, Zac? We only planned this to be 30 minutes, but we got talking about on-road, and I'm cool with that. Remember, guys, check him out. He has been doing this for a long time. I'm going to order me some. I need to get new charge leads for my stuff here, for my boat and all that stuff, and my crawlers. And so I'm going to visit your shop. You can go to drcproshop.com. Use the coupon code NONAME to save 20% off all orders over $50. Zac, thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking a little bit of on-road with us. Keep making these awesome products. Keep racing. And hopefully we see things change on the on-road scene in America for everybody. Because, the more people racing, the better it is for everybody. And keep making these awesome products. And remember, guys, support small RC businesses, because without them, we won't be doing RC stuff. And this guy's providing some great leads. Every person that I know that on the team, like Joe and Kevin, they like your stuff. Obviously, I don't race enough, so I can't really, say much about them.
That's okay.
But I definitely enjoyed my phone leads, and I'm going to order some more. Check them out, guys. Hit them up. Get some Donovan RC racing leads in your life, and get some phone charging leads. Get them customized. Get what you want in their different colors. I mean, these are quality. This is quality stuff. Quality stuff.
Yeah. So before you check out, hit up our information and frequently asked section. It has a breakdown of how to choose the perfect charge lead. And then you can also view our warranty information, which we have for our balance charge leads and stuff like that as well.
There we go. All of that right there. All the questions.
Yeah. So
sweet. Well, Zac,
informational section.
That's the information section. Information and frequent. Yeah, here we go. Warranties. Heated lipo sleeve. That heated lipo sleeve. I learned something today. I never knew that. Interesting stuff. All right, Zac. Let me let you go have cup of coffee number 3. I'm going to let you go. Thank you for your time. Remember, guys, www.drcproshop.com. Coupon code NONAME in small letters, and you save 20% off all orders of $50. Thank you, Zac, for giving us that coupon code. Show him some love. Remember, showing the sponsors, showing people that come on and promote on our podcast. Shows the podcast some love. And Zac, hopefully you can get me we'll meet one day, and then I can smash your car into a wall. Because it'd be too much for me, obviously. And then I'll be like, all right, take this thing from me. It's too fast. But keep up the good work, man. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Keenan. I really appreciate it.
All right, cool. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
NNRC Raceway, the home of El Paso's world-famous motocross-inspired 8-scale off-road track. The Showers family has over 20 years' experience creating one of the premier tracks in the USA. Their world-class facility has everything: handicap accessibility, covered beds,
Gate starts. Space for parking RVs, trailers, and lights for night racing. Follow SCRC on Facebook under Sun City RC Raceway for updates, upcoming races, or host your own race.
Yes, thank you to Sun City RC Raceway. Joey Showers was in the live with us last night. He said, "What's up, Joseph? He misses you. I know you miss him. Shout out to the Showers
I don't
family."
miss him.
Yes, you do. You miss Joey so much. Yes, you do. You and Joey love each other. Thank you to the Showers family, Joey, Christian, Corbin, for all the support. We greatly appreciate it. I hope to get out to SCRC. If things go well, we might be there in November, it sounds like. So good stuff. Joseph, this week on the Dawn and Quiet segment, we're going to talk about something raw related. I'm trying to do something raw related every month here. Right now, I have some sources. They're sending me information. This is all information that's public information, but I never even looked at it. Stop doing what you're ever doing and just pay attention for a sec. What the heck is that noise? I'm going to mute you.
What noise?
I don't know. Whatever that noise is in the background. So my Dawn and Quiet topic this week is why we aren't seeing different tracks holding Raw Nationals. If you look at it, like Thornhill held it in 2016, then they had it again in 2019. State Line had it in 2017. This is the second time for LCRC to have it. You know, it's like, I get it. We're saying, well, how come these tracks aren't getting the bids for these races? And my question is, after looking at how much work and time these track owners have to put in and all the risk, why would you want to hold a raw race? So I went to my source, pointed me to this document, which is called, you can find it, it's on Raw Nationals Guidelines. It's the Raw Nationals National Guidelines for Race Management and Team Events. It's on the actual Raw website, along with their financials early up to 2016, which is shady at best. Just, I'm going to mute you for a second because your mic's really hot. So basically, if you go to section 3 of this document, I'm going to add it to the screen if anybody wants to see it. So financial considerations. Joseph, come in when you can here. So you wanted to know how much a track makes off of a Raw event. Okay, so let's look at that. All entry fees and entry forms are collected by Raw, number one. The Article 3.3.1. The host will receive $1,500 as a guaranteed fee from Raw for hosting the event, $500 90 days prior to the event, and $1,000 10 days, not within 10 days of the event finishing, right? That's not a lot of money. The host will receive an additional $1,000 within 10 days of the event completion if entries exceed 125. Then, even down here, you see the host will receive an additional $30 for each entry exceeding a paid entry of 190 within 10 days of closing. The host is required to provide all entrants with the event after sale to be given away, like a race memento, a towel, a shirt, or anything like that, saying Raw, all this type of stuff. The host track can retain funds from sponsorship, table rental fees, any working area, concessions, T-shirt sales, and profit from controlled product requirements, which would be spec tires or whatnot like that. So to say all of that, my point is, I kind of calculated, I don't know how accurate I am with this. I could be off. But if you go off by the entry...
Probably not very accurate.
No, probably not. I mean, I can't say how much LCRC made off this race. But if my calculations are right, they made about $7,500 from Raw for this race. By the time they got, that extra $1,000, they got $1,500, then they got $1,000 after that. Then they got $30 after every entry after 109. I think it was 356 entries. So basically, they made $7,500. But they also made money off the sponsorships and all that stuff, but basically the track has to do all the work. If you was at LCRC and saw the amount of people they had working there full time, it was crazy. I'm guarantee you that guy had to pay. He spent more than $7,500 to get this track up and going. Even though it's a great facility, I know he made money on other things. But for me, as a track owner, if you said this to me, if you really look at it, the track has all the risk. The track has to do all the work. They have to go out and get the sponsorship funds, which I understand. Like, I just table rentals, all that stuff. I get it. We should do that. They should do that too. Any working area, pit space, all that stuff, concessions. Or they have to do a shit ton of work. That's why they have that practice session to make that extra little money so they can cover themselves. And that's why I'm not against it. Now, I calculated this. Raw made about $30,000 off this race, roughly. I heard rumors that I don't know how true this is. I'm hearing like rumors that each guy gets like $5,000 to go to this race and all this type of stuff. Don't quote me on that. That's rumors. I don't know if that's true. But this is why we're not seeing as a track. I would not hold this. I don't think I would hold the Raw Nationals, because you just have to really, it's like they come in there, they have no risk whatsoever at this. They come in there, they collect 300 and also, they remember the raw fees that they have to collect, because not everybody pays their raw membership right at the beginning. But it's just insane. Joseph, are you there? Are you listening to these numbers? He's muted me.
Yeah, we've had the same problem in Europe with the Euros, where they haven't been hosts.
Mm-hmm.
So we, in the last decade, let's say, well, let's think about this. What is it? Let's say last 15 years, we've been to Germany to the same track twice. Mm-hmm. We've been to France to the same track twice. We've been for not the Euro A's, but for like multiple Euros, like electric Euros, nitro Euros, 40 plus Euros, 10 scale Euros, all these different Euros. Mm-hmm. We've been to fairing in Austria. So it's been a problem to find organizers, but there are many great tracks mm-hmm. and many great events. They just don't want to organize the Euros because of the requirements and the financial aspects of it.
Yeah, I mean, all the risk is on the track. Like, really, at the end of the day, that's why when people were complaining about, like, we complain about, like, the unofficial practice and it's not fair, but it's a way for that track to make some extra. Like, I watch these people bust their asses. I watch these people save Raw's ass at this race. You know what I mean? And when I saw these numbers, I was like, what the hell? Like, I wouldn't, like, and then I think about, like, I know how much roughly RCGP paid for Thunder Alley. Like, you know what I mean? But think about SNS Hobbies. They only got 41 entries. They only got $1,500. That's not even enough to do a track change nowadays. A track change costs $1,500, you know? So, man, that's nothing. That's peanuts. And Roger sits there and collects all this money. And this is, and guess what? This off-road race and then the 10 scale Nats that are coming up next month, these are the two races that carry Raw the entire time, because these are the two biggest races. They're bigger than, like, I went and looked back at some of the prior Raw races, like, that you had. So let's have a quick, just so people know, view races from other events, so people don't think I'm just talking out of my ass here. Maybe that's not going to work. Wrong one. So let's see. The off-road fuel Nats had 197 drivers. Why is this not? All right. So the latest one, 359 entries, 197 entries. That was this last month. The 2021 Electric On-Road Carpet Championships, they actually had a good number of entries. They had 114 people. That's the only on-road race that I'm seeing her this year that's won over 100 people. Like the on-road nationals and things, like these on-road races aren't getting the numbers of off-road. That's not off-road's fault, but you can see where it's definitely carrying this. Look at the 10 scale 2019 Electric Off-Road Worlds, Nationals, 298 entries, 134 drivers. These people, these two off-roads paying the way for everything else, man. And I just as a track owner, I don't think I can agree to these terms. Obviously, the tracks that continue to hold these races have figured out a way they know how to make some money off this, because you wouldn't, but it's prestigious. Like, we need to have the Raw Nationals. But man, it is, when you see the numbers on paper, like how much they get paid and how much risk the track has to take, it's incredible. It's incredible. But like I said, let us know what you guys think. Would you, if you was a track owner, would you agree to those rules? If you guys want to check them out, go to rawracing.com, go to their downloads and look up Raw Nationals guidelines. Also, something I found out on the website, Joseph, They haven't posted any financial records since 2016 here.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. And that's another big question, because that's apparently when Rick Howard's dad left and this other guy took over. Ingersoll, I think his name is.
Really?
Yeah. And there's been no financials. So we had 2017, 2018, 2019. Obviously, we can't count 2020, but you're missing 3 years of financials there. There's a lot of stuff going on here, man. We as I'm digging deeper and reading the guidelines and the rules of RAW and like how the committee works and all that stuff, it needs an overhaul more than anything. And I'm starting to think that it needs a complete overhaul, completely, like everybody. I don't know how that's going to be done, but I don't know, dude. I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Go check it out for yourself. Look at the requirements needed. Look at what they require from people to have this race, which is understandable. And would you do this as a racer? I mean, as a track owner, all the onus is on you to get all the money, get everything done, get all that type of stuff. And Raw just comes in there and runs the race incorrectly, I might add. And I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I don't want to do it. As I dig deeper, I'm finding out more inconsistencies and more stuff that just makes me shake my head. All right, Josie, I think that's it for us today. It's 6:05 a.m. on a Friday here for me. I've been up for a long time. You got a meeting to go to. Thank you for your time, Joseph. It was good catching up with you. What's next for you, real quick?
Right now, Mayako members meeting.
Mayako members meeting. I'm not invited to that. That's fine.
No.
He said that so quick. Thank you for your time, Joseph. Remember, his course is coming out soon. He hasn't stopped making videos. He's out there geeking out on that. Mayako is coming out soon. Next big race coming up here. Like I said, we got the ENATs this week. Barnstormers. We got Wicked Weekend coming up next week. Early next August. We got my birthday coming up here soon, Joseph. So yeah, all good. The 29th of July. It's actually a Thursday, so I might do a live while I'm doing it. Enjoy that.
Okay.
And
how old are you? 55?
43, dude.
43?
Yeah. Don't worry, you'll be 40 soon. Joseph, enjoy your...
Yeah, when is that? 2023?
Yeah, 2 years from now, dude.
Cool, dude.
You still ain't beating Drake, though.
Oh, yeah, I will. Next time we race, I beat him.
I have zero confidence of that happening.
Yeah, 100% confidence.
You know, it's all good to have 100% confidence. Doesn't mean...
Okay.
He's like, okay, you watch, you see.
Yeah. I'll show you.
All right.
You have to go.
All right. Well, thank you, Joseph, for your time. I'll let you go now. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to David Ronnefalk for coming on and joining us this week on the podcast. It's really awesome. Thank you to everybody for the questions. Also to Zach Donovan. Don't forget to check out him and use the promo code no name, I believe it is, in all caps, to save some money off your order. I think that offer is good to first week of August, so you might want to do that now. You save 20% off your any orders over $50. Get yourself some badass leads. I know I'm gonna get me some here soon. Thank you to all the NNRC squad around the world, man. Love you guys. Can't do this without you guys. All these nice lights, this equipment, all this stuff. We do this for you guys. We bring up content. I'm feeling good. I want to get back to races. I really want to go to Wicked Weekend, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But I would like to do the 10 scale nationals because I've never been to a 10 scale nationals, and I'd like to do maybe Southern Nats if I'm gonna be in America. So I don't know. Did you guys like what we did at the nationals here last month? If you did, let us know and show us some more support. Maybe join the Patreon, help us out, help us go to these races. If you want, maybe we got some sponsors for this. If you are interested in helping us go to the 10 scale nationals and Southern Nats here next month, hit me up. I'm always looking for help to get to these races. We did this pretty much all out of pocket going to the nationals here. I was trying to get a budget to stay for the ENATs, which would have been, even though it's a light turnout, it still would have been good to be there, but I couldn't. And yeah, it just is what it is. You know, independent media going to RC, it's hard. But we had a good time, and I want to do it again. Digging deep into those raw files. It's all public knowledge right there. And remember, you know, this podcast is brought to you by some awesome sponsors, and they are Mayako, Beach RC, TNR Fuels, Hitec RC, Sun City RC Raceway, Tekno RC, Lugz Racing Tires, Manscaped.com, Papa Willie's Tracks and Tonic, Racecraft USA, House of RC, RCGP, JQ Racing. Shout out to all my JQ Racing family. It's been 4 years now I've been doing this. And shout out to Wally Builds and JQ Threads. If you guys can, show these sponsors some love. There's affiliate links. There's promo codes. There's everything you need in the written description. Just click on them. Show them some love. Helps us out. If you guys are racing this weekend, have fun. Good luck to everybody attending the E-Nets. And it's summertime. Racing's hot and heavy. Be safe. Have fun. Send it without responsibility. And remember, nitrous to glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. If you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty, JQ's out. It was good talking to JQ again. You guys all have a great, great weekend of racing. And we will talk to you next week. And thank you for all the support. Love all you guys. One love. Lefty out.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. We greatly appreciate all the support and love from you, the listeners. Without all of you, none of this is possible. Special thanks to our patrons on Patreon. If you wish to support the podcast further, you can at patreon.com/NNRC podcast. As a patron, you will receive early releases, special content, and patron-only giveaways. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, www.nnrcpodcast.com. Remember, Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. If you aren't having fun, it doesn't make sense. And if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty out. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory.
That wasn't so bad.